wizard cast plane shift on the party and trapped them in the abyssal realm. So session's canceled. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of the Sessions Canceled podcast. I'm your host, once again, it's Matt. What is up? I'm here with 2 out of the 4 goons here. I'm here with Isaiah.
Hello.
And Josh.
Ding dong.
Unfortunately, Samuel is out in the abyssal plane. We weren't able to bring him back.
Sam's okay this time. Like, he passed his con save. It's just going to be a hot minute before he gets back to us. But he'll get back eventually.
At some point, yes.
But he's not failing con saves anymore. That's the important thing.
That's good, yeah. He's getting a lot of those for a while.
As you do.
But anywho'sin, this is another special episode. This is our class book, handbook, core book, bookery, where we specifically talk about one of the D&D. You're welcome. We talk about one of the D&D 5e classes specifically. And last time we talked about the fighter, the anti-magic man, no magic allowed. And this time, this episode, as I stated in the intro, we're specifically going to talk about the wizard, who is nothing but magic.
Yeah, I mean, I said when we did the previous episode of said series, I was like, you know, the 2 really quintessential classes are wizard and fighter. And I was like, you know, I decided to start with fighter, but I was like, wizard's gonna have to be close behind. And then Matt said, let's just do it now. And I went, all right, well, bada bing.
Welcome. Yeah.
Because I really do feel like if you were like, all right, you only get 2 classes for the entire game, I would probably have to pick fighter and wizard.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, they're too iconic, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, iconic and kind of like the fighter, because we're probably going to say this word a lot. Wizards are also a very versatile class. You can literally do almost anything with the wizard, just like a fighter to some regards. Or at least I feel like that. I don't know if you guys, I don't know what your opinions exactly are on the Wizard.
Yeah, I mean, wizards have a lot of options, but I don't say they can do a lot of things within their scope, but like, you know, don't expect like, I'm trying to, like, you can't be like a healer wizard. You can't be like a heavy supporty wizard. A lot of wizard stuff's pretty self-centered. Like, you can pick supporty spells, but a lot of like the abilities you get are pretty self-centered. Like, there's certain things they're not quite there at, but they have a lot of options within their scope is fairly broad.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so kind of like last time, we have the few questions that we kind of are going to ask ourselves, you know, rating the wizard. Who do we think is a good example of a wizard in media? You know, what our favorite classes are or subclasses and all that. But I guess just in general, you know, Mental Gen, what are our thoughts on the wizard as a whole? Like, do we like it? Are we yay? And just like basic.
That's what the rating is for, Matt. All
right, fine. Let's just go to the wheel of ratings.
Should I explain the scale again for posterity?
Sure.
Or what my logic on the scale is?
Sure. Yeah, I'm just kind of hijacking the rating at this point. I have no idea what's going on.
All right, so 1 to 5 scale. Again, this is our personal ratings, by the way. This is not how the class stands up in the meta or how other people feel about it or any of that bullshit. It's just our personal rating about the class.
No, Josh, plant your flag in the ground. Our opinions are facts. So.
I mean, you know. Yeah, so 1 to 5. A 1 being, I hate it. I'm not interested. Nothing about it excites me. I think it's badly designed. Just not about it. A 3 is like, got some good, got some bad. I'm sort of, you know, there's some parts of it I like, there's some parts of it I don't. Maybe there's a subclass I really, really dislike and a subclass I really, really like. And then a 5 is, again, not perfect, because perfect is never on the table, so there's no point in trying to talk about it. A 5 just means you're super, super into it. You like everything you're doing. You like most of the subclass, if not all of the subclass options. You like the way it's designed. You think it's well made. You're on that team. There's always things you could change, of course, but if you're saying it's a 5, it means there's either very few things you could change or you would change, or those things you would change would be a lot of like minor tweaks as opposed to big sweeping changes.
Yeah. But
So
I
with
guess
that,
do
who wants to with that?
I mean, I guess you guys want to go first and I'll go last?
I went
or
first
do you want me to
last
go
time.
first? Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll go first. So I'm a little biased. I'm not gonna lie,
No
because
such
I
thing as
love.
being biased.
True. Okay. So I do really like the wizard class. It's kind of the tie for me for if it's my favorite class in 5e D&D in general. I just love the idea of the caster who can do almost anything, they wish with the means of magic and spells and all that jazz. So I think the wizard is honestly a 5 for me. Just because like I do enjoy and I do like all the subclasses. I don't feel like there's like a bad one or there's one that I'm like kind of meh on. I would probably try all of them at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that they break them down like the original ones to each one is a school of magic, and each one, they do specific things with that school of magic. And then later on when more books come out, they do, they kind of break away from that. But I just like that idea in general with the wizards.
You said it's tied for top for you? Who's it tied with?
Paladin.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it completely, yeah. It's such a weird... Because after Avernus, like, because I always liked the Paladin, but I never was like, it's my favorite. Because I originally, the Rogue was my favorite, but I've been playing a Wizard for like, now I'm realizing 4 fucking years in Storm King's Thunder. So now I'm kind of like, maybe I should put Wizard up top. But then after Descent to Avernus and playing, Matingo and the Vengeance Paladin, and I do kind of have the same kind of affinity of the Paladin. It's a very good mixed bag of like, I can do literally whatever I want kind of deal. I don't know.
I see. No, yeah, I follow.
Yeah. What about you? What about you guys? Isaiah, what do you, what about you? Where are you ranking the wizard from?
Before I do, you didn't give us your favorite subclass, and you didn't give us who you think the ideal, like the platonic ideal of a wizard is.
Oh, I thought we were doing each question individually.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna round robin it. Didn't we round robin it last time, or did we not?
No, we went straight through the whole. We went through the list, each one of us. Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. Listeners, we don't remember.
Yeah, the 3 initial questions are rating who's the quintessential wizard for you, and have you played it? Obviously, Matt, you have played it.
Okay, so I guess, I'll skip all right, I'm going to do my questions, I guess, mixed in order. I'm sorry.
I mean, they don't need to be in order. I don't think that.
Right, so I have, as I said, I played a wizard for 4 years. I still can't remember half the abilities of the class, but I have played a abjuration wizard for 4 years, which, goddamn, let me tell you, the abjuration wizard, I guess also favorite subclass, abjuration wizard. It is the quintessential, like, anti-mage. I'm gonna shut down other spellcasters. I'm gonna make sure they don't do anything. I'm gonna protect my allies and mostly myself because I'm squishy. And yeah, I don't know. I just would like the idea of the abjuration wizard with the, it's the Doctor Strange kind of like, energy shield, but it's I always imagine it being blue for the arcane ward and all that jazz. And I guess quintessential wizard. I'm just gonna keep rolling with that. I think Doctor Strange is a good example.
Yes.
I think
despite being named the Sorcerer Supreme, very much not a sorcerer in the
Get
D&D
out
set.
of here, Marvel. What are you doing?
I think
Jeez.
actually this is a good I was gonna wait till it got around to me, but this is a good little segue footnote. A thing I realized when it comes to being like, who's a good example of this D&D class, right? That whole game, which a lot of people like to play a lot of the time, like, oh, Batman's a rogue, Superman's a fighter, blah, blah, right? That whole shit.
I want to make Wolverine.
I want to make Wolverine. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I think a thing I realized is when you're dealing with the martial classes, it's easier to do because when you get to magic, like, when you get to caster heavy classes, the thing I realize is that every form of media has a different magic system. And because everybody has their own magic systems, it becomes incredibly difficult to try and compare and contrast. because try and tell me another form of media that uses anything even similar to spell slots, you know what I mean? Or like Vancian casting back in the day. Like that's a very D&D-esque thing. So it's really hard to make those comparison points, which is why I kind of had a hard time thinking about like, who is a good like quintessential wizard for me? I had an issue. Doctor Strange was very high on my list because I do think he's got big wizard energy, right? He's got that like, I've studied for many years. It's very clear he has different schools he sort of enacts when he does his casting. Like there's little hints and signs. But it's the differing magic systems makes it tricky.
Right, and that's why I feel like Doctor Strange is kind of like a good, because like when you think of like, and I'm just gonna say fucking, you know, like actually I'll save some of the other ones because I have a bunch on the list that I want to talk about later, just like as other examples besides the ones that we're gonna mention. But like I think Doctor Strange is a good example, not specifically of a D&D wizard, but just like the idea of the wizard, of the guy who can do whatever they wish with the means of magic and spell casting, and like you were saying, he studied and practiced.
I think the studying,
hand symbols.
The studying's a big thing for me.
The studying is a very big thing, yeah, because that's how like in Dungeons and Dragons, that's how like what sorcery differentiates between the sorcerer. The sorcerers are born with magic, and they can use it and learn to control it, or just let wild magic. Whereas the wizard has to practice and read and learn, and they kind of have to work at the craft.
Yeah.
So let's see. I guess I want to save the last question to how would you fix it?
No. That's later. That's later. That's why
I want.
Because guys don't listen to me. Nope. That's why I sectioned the first 3 questions off separately.
Yeah.
Read the notes.
Sorry.
All right, listen, everybody. We don't do show notes a lot, but for this particular thing, I wanted to do a little bit of show notes. And now you see what happens. You see what happens when I try and give show notes. Everything falls apart.
Yeah.
Anyway, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I'd rate Wizard a 5. I love Wizard. Wizard's probably my favorite, if not second favorite class in the game.
Let's go.
So I'm about to hit you with I'm going to be true to my cringe self. Because I think the current quintessential wizard for me right now is Ida Clawthorn from the Owl House.
Yeah.
I don't get this reference, but I will take your word for it.
Don't worry. So the way that they do magic in that show is you have to learn spells, and you don't have a spell book. You have to memorize all of them. But the spells all require verbal, somatic, and at most times material components. They are able to upcast their spells by they cast spells by drawing circles in the air, and that circle replicates a glyph, and then they touch it, and then it does a spell. But depending on the size of the circle you draw, the more powerful the spell is. So like a little circle the size of a baseball will do like a firebolt, but if we've seen Ida draw like body-sized circles, and it's just a fireball, it's just like a nuke going off. So they're upcasting.
Yeah, they're basically throwing 9th level spells and shit.
Yeah, they don't have spell slots per se, but they talk about very early on, like, obviously if you make a bunch of really big circles, you tire yourself out really quickly, and they are shown to run out of stamina eventually. So they also have to concentrate on spells.
Implied spell slots.
Yeah.
And they have to concentrate on spells.
They also have in the show like there's different schools of magic too, like D&D. So it's kind of, although it's like
was the creator of that show a big D&D nerd? Because this seems to fit weirdly well.
Maybe.
But then like you have some of the schools where it's like, all right, death, fire, slime. And you're like, wait.
Well, the slime one is like familiar summoning.
I know, but it's like, it's funny.
Those are weird, but also not. Like the idea of having schools in general is sort of within the D&D-esque realm, so it's not that weird.
So I was thinking about this today because I was gonna say Saifa Ben Nadas because
Saifa was another one that came pretty high on my list.
Because she's also, because I've heard people say that Saifa is a sorcerer, and I'm massively confused by that statement because she learned her magic. She wasn't born with it.
All right, when we get to the sorcerer episode, we might have to have this chat because I'm kind of on the Saifa as a sorcerer camp.
No,
there's a couple of key things.
What show was Saifa from again? I'm sorry.
Castlevania.
Oh yeah. She's a wizard.
The amazing Greek woman.
Spanish.
Question?
Spanish woman?
Oh.
She's actually,
Whatever.
the last time I checked, I believe she's actually from, oh no, she's from, god damn it, I knew the
I don't know.
answer to
She
this.
looks like an Irish lady and her accent's confusing. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'm crying.
Redheaded lady with a confusing accent.
Yes.
But
Checks
yes,
all the
I am
boxes.
kind of in the Cyphers of Sorcerer camp. But I can kind of see the argument on Wizard too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because isn't it all like through like language and learning how to use spells? And the
yeah. There's
history
a couple of
the world and all
specific.
that?
There's a couple. Again, we're not talking about sorcerer, so I won't get into it too much. But there's a couple of specific things that has turned my thought in that direction. But spoilers for whenever we do the sorcerer episode.
So, Sypha is from the Iberian Peninsula in Spain. That's,
Okay. So she's Spanish.
Yeah.
And you have played Wizard. This I know.
I've played Wizard for a very long time. It is not as long as Matt, not years, but I played Wizard for a few months, and it is so much fun.
Is this
There
the Conjuration guy?
Yes, yeah, my little summoner, Gnome. I love him to death. He is my child. And I said at one point I was going to use him in that one game and then nothing else, but I've since changed my mind. If Yato explodes and I can't bring him back, I'm definitely putting Rava in Magic Goon Academia, straight up.
Sick.
Okay.
Oh no, wait, that means I'll be the only martial character. Oh no.
A ranger is martial.
Yeah, but is he a ranger?
Yes.
Oh, I thought he was a wizard. Sorry, I was
You
mixing
thought
up. My bad.
you thought Trust was a wizard?
Not Trust. No, I meant not Trust. The Isaiah's character he's talking about.
What?
He said if Yato died,
Yeah, if
he
Yato
would bring
dies,
it-
I'm playing a wizard.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
you said your character would be the only martial, but Trust is a
Yeah.
ranger.
He uses a bow. That doesn't count.
That's a martial.
Get out of here.
Oh my-
He's in the
What
back
what
line.
he's saying is he'd be the only close range fighter, is what he
That's a
meant to say.
different statement. Backline and
Adam.
front line is different than martial and casting.
I stand by my opinions are facts, and I stand
No,
by.
Matt, you just don't talk right good.
Nope.
Freaking dingus. All right.
I speak on a podcast.
Anyway, yeah. My turn, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess this is just gonna be we all suck off Wizard the episode, because I'm also pretty much in the camp of Wizards, like one of my favorites. However,
This is like the Obama meme giving a medal to himself. This
you
is like
know.
us. Yeah, like we
Yeah.
did, gentlemen. We did.
However, I think Wizard's a 4 for me, with the caveat that pushing it over to a 5 would be pretty easy. And the reason it falls to a 4 and not quite a 5 for me is because the one thing that really bugs me about Wizard, and Sorcerer has a little bit of this problem too, is there is too many levels where I just see that empty box for features.
But you get a new spell level.
I understand, yes, you're the wizard, so your whole thing is you get more spells, you're the spellcasty guy, more pew-pew spells, and on the empty box levels, you get a new level, you get a new spell level. I get it, I do, I understand. It just bugs me. I just want them to get something, especially because on top of that, some of those boxes are just ASI, which is like, you know, and obviously feats, but that's like a whole other thing. So yeah, the one thing that irks me a little bit with Wizard is that I just wish they got some more class features along the way, and I don't even really need them to be anything big. I just want them to be something, because I just feel like that empty box is just like disappointing to look at. I don't know. I don't exactly know what I would give them, but I just want to give them something. Little things along, like for example, Sorcerer got, what's that ability called in Tasha's magical guidance, where you can like re-roll abilities at level 5.
Yeah.
Little things like that along the way, you know?
They kind of got something. I think they at 3rd level, the cantrip formula. That was the new thing
That's
from Tasha's.
just for swapping cantrips. That's not.
I know.
That don't do nothing. Don't diddly nothing.
So I know we're gonna get people in the comments being like, no, there's a reason why they don't have. No, shut up. I am so mad when a level up gives you literally nothing. Like,
I know, that's what I'm talking about.
I guess not literally nothing if you're playing a wizard. You are getting higher spell slots, but I want like a class feature for everything. Even if it's something simple, right? Like
that's what I literally was just saying, Isaiah.
I know, but I'm saying on a macro scale, I really don't like when you don't get something.
Oh yeah, no, this applies to everything. I'm just saying for the wizard specifically, that's the one sort of like negative mark on wizard for me is they have a lot of that. But it does. You're right. It does apply to everything. Yeah. When anytime you level up and you don't get anything, it's like meh.
Right, because I'm looking at the list right now. It's literally
every other.
New spell level, arcane tradition.
Yeah.
New spell level, ability score. New spell level, arcane tradition. And it just repeats. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just, and it doesn't need to be crazy, but like something, you know? I don't know. Like imagine if the wizard at like 10th level, or like, well, it wouldn't be 10th, at like level 9, it's like, your magic, you know, you're getting more comfortable with your magic, +1 to your spell save DC, you know, like stuff like that. Just like something. So yeah, that's the only reason wizard doesn't hit a 5 for me, but it's I said we're not doing decimals, but it would be like a 4.9 for me, basically. It's almost a 5.
This fucking guy breaking his own rules over
No,
here.
I'm saying 4. I'm sticking to a 4. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically. I'm sticking, 4. So 4 is where Wizard falls for me. And but it is still one of my favorites. I do fucking love Wizard. And like reading over the subclasses, there's a couple of things I didn't even know about with some of the subclasses. I'm like, ooh, that's fun. Ooh, that's fun. So yeah, anytime I'm reading through the class and I'm like, ooh, that gives me a fun idea. Ooh, that gives me a new way to do it. Any of that, always good. Now, all right, I'm gonna say who my wizard of choice is for last, but I have not. So I've played wizard for a grand total of 2 sessions. I'm just gonna say I haven't played wizard.
I mean, one shots count.
No, Matt, because it was the first 2 sessions of the initial round of Magic Goon Academia where we basically didn't do anything. It doesn't count. I have not played wizard. Like, I refuse to count it.
Was it the sexy goblin cave that Sam made?
Yes.
Yes. That was when I was the dwarf wild magic.
The Duergar,
The Duergar.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say I haven't played wizard because it was so little that it just doesn't. It's not even worth counting it. I do want to play wizard, and I think a wizard's probably gonna be my next character that I play. But yeah, no, I'm just gonna say I haven't. Now, my quintessential wizard is kind of a funny one, and I'm gonna need y'all to like hear me out first. Actually, I think Isaiah will know where I'm going with this. Matt might be a little confused here.
I'm gonna hold my yucks for later.
Interesting choice of words, Matt, because
no,
the quintessential wizard for me,
don't you say it,
I think is Donald Duck.
Oh my god, I hate you. Oh my god, why? How and why? You know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't agree.
Donald Duck in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, I was about to ask.
Is the quintessential wizard. He really is.
Out of all the Disney wizards you could have said, like Jafar or Merlin, Donald fucking Maduck.
Yes. Now,
God damn it.
You could also arguably extend this to Mickey in Kingdom Hearts a little bit too, but Mickey does a lot of physical fighting too, so like it's not quite the same. Donald is 100% pure wizard. And Isaiah, I know this frustrates you, but like hear me out. Donald's whole thing is he's a big fucking nerd. He has all this magical power because he studied real hard and he's real good at it, right? He works real hard. He's the head of all the magic horse shit that goes on at Disney Castle. He upcasts, his spells grow in power, and as we've seen recently in Kingdom Hearts 3, he very clearly has 9th level spells at the least. Maybe more.
Please don't remind me that he can cast Zeta Flare.
Yeah, so like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Donald is ludicrously powerful. And,
oh my god.
And I think it's also worth pointing out, we don't get to see it a lot because Donald is kind of played off as a joke a lot of the time in the Kingdom Hearts series. But every once in a while, when Donald gets to be smart, he is super fucking smart and he does like know what to do, you know? It's just they don't give him the chance a lot of the time. So yeah, also the way that he the way he casts spells, the fact that like his spells like grow in power and they increase in levels and like he gets better. The way he uses his wand is very D&D-esque. Like it's just
Actually, side thing, do you
Donald
guys
is a good one.
Right? Do you guys prefer your wizards or spellcasters to use a wand or a staff, or like what's your casting focus?
I prefer staves if I have to have a focus.
I think wands are kind of nerdy and I don't like them.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about
wands.
wands.
Say staves.
I'm not crazy about wands. Ideally, I think a wizard should use their spell book as a focus, which is why I like for the Order of Scribes. That's a thing now.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. Scribe wizards.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the question. Do you think that Vivi would also be a good wizard?
Oh, 100%, yeah. No,
Who
Vivi
is that?
definitely. Vivi from Final Fantasy 9.
The Black Mage. Well, because the question would be there, would you count any Black Mage as a good wizard? Because I feel like Donald and Vivi and the other colored mages in FF are kind of limited. Because to me, a wizard is marked by their ability to do damage, but also their ability to control.
I don't think Donald is limited, because you have to think about particularly the things that Donald can get, like Gravaja and fucking Stop and Cure and all that. So I think in the Kingdom Hearts universe, Donald is not limited. Vivi and Black Mages can be limited because they're essentially like evocation only wizards, but they're still fairly wizardy. I think it also depends on which Final Fantasy you're talking about, because sometimes Black Mages get to do more and sometimes they are very much only damage mages, you know what I mean? Like if you're talking about Final Fantasy 14 Black Mage, they are only damage and almost nothing else. But if you're talking
Cloud is my favorite wizard because he uses a sword. Sorry, I don't know shit about Final Fantasy.
But like, yeah, if you're talking about like black magic and stuff and something like fucking, I don't know, like 8, for example, and then you're in like a totally different realm. So it kind of depends, but I think Vivi is still a pretty good example, but you're right in that he is a bit more limited. But Vivi does have kind of that overwhelming, like, you know, force of nature type, big dickish spell power, pew pew energy.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't pick Y'shtola.
You know, because Y'shtola's still a fucking white mage in my head. So
I guess, but if you think about it, Y'shtola is also pretty close to a platonic ideal of a wizard, right?
She
is
had to
now. Learn all her magic.
She didn't used to be.
Because even she learned from. I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry to any listener who has to deal with this now.
Okay, yeah. To contextify. Okay, Y'shtola is a character in Final Fantasy 14. She's one of the main characters that's in your party. She used to be a healer and is now just a I do what I want wizard, basically. They just call her a sorcerer. So, you know. Well,
so the reason why I think she's a good idea for a wizard is because she had to learn all her abilities. She had a teacher, and Matoya is definitely a wizard.
Toya, yeah.
For Christ's sake, she animated brooms in her hut, and she's got a big pointy wizard hat.
She also has a bunch of frog familiars that like do her bidding.
Yeah. Y'shtola can do damage, she can support, she can heal, but we've sort of healing in 14 is not really healing. It's more like bolstering. So yeah, I would say Y'shtola, especially now, she is 100% the platonic idea of wizard.
Now she is, but before I would say she wasn't, because she was so heavily a conjurer before, and conjurer Y'shtola is still cemented in my brain. I don't reject modernity, embrace tradition. I have a hard time being like, yes, Y'shtola, the black mage. Like, I know it's a thing now, but yeah, yes, like, you're not wrong. She's a good example, but yeah, I don't know. Donald's just the one that came to mind. I was like, oh, Donald really like hits all the boxes for me in a funny way, you know? And I also think Donald deserves more love than he gets.
Yeah, no, I mean, thinking about it now, because I've only played a very limited amount of Kingdom Hearts, but thinking back on the spells and everything, it's like, yeah, I could see that. It's like I could definitely see it.
You know, and also I needed to take Gandalf and push him as far away from my brain as possible, because as much as he's called a wizard, he is not a wizard in any way, and it's very weird.
No, I disagree with that, but I want to save that. What's your favorite subclass first before we get into that? Because I definitely want to talk about
easy
more
money
wizards.
Order of Scribes.
Scribes? Okay.
Scribes is so fucking, because Scribes is the type of wizard that's like, everyone picked on the wizard for being a fucking nerd in high school, and the Order of Scribes wizard was like, you know what? I'm gonna just double down. I'm such a big nerd, I made my book my only friend. Jesus. I love how Order of Scribes wizard is the most wizardy wizard. Like, Order of Scribes is that kid that you picked on in high school and now they own like a startup company in fucking California. Like, it has that energy. I love Order of Scribes. I also love their spellbook being their focus. I think that's like I love the idea of casting spells from a spellbook specifically.
Yeah, that's a really cool visual.
Such a good, like, yeah.
Especially if you like do something weird with your spellbook, like make it like, I don't know, like in the Xanathar's guide, they have like, what is your spellbook? And some one of them was like, it's a bunch of tattoos written on my skin, or
yeah, like a great example is in Final Fantasy 14. There's a class called Scholar, which is a healer, but they use a book to heal and cast all their spells with, and they have an ability that puts like a healing barrier around you, and they basically rip a bunch of pages out of their book and like throw them up in the air, and then the pages land around your target and like float around them like a shield.
Oh, that's kind of neat. That's nice.
I love
that's
that.
a nice visual.
I love that.
Do they run out of pages?
Shit. No, because they're magical pages.
I had to ask.
They're magic pages. There's a difference.
All right, but I do want to talk like kind of side back. What? English?
Switchback?
Witchback? Yeah, I want to take it back. Take it back now, y'all. Quintessential wizards, like in media, like a bunch of like other ones, because I found a surprising amount, and I also found that some of the surprising amount, like the ones that I found, there were arguments about them being sorcerers or warlocks.
Yeah.
Or,
so okay,
like
here's
other
the thing.
things.
Here's the thing about, again, this kind of goes back to what I was talking about with magic, with like how everyone has a different magic system, right? The problem is that a lot of wizards, like a lot of characters that are called wizards by name in media, are really close, but there's a couple of key things that make them not a wizard in the D&D sense. They're kind of their own thing. And a lot of that comes down to how you handle your magic system, and that flavoring what your kind of wizard is, you know? So like,
yeah.
I imagine the list you're about to rattle off, I'm gonna be like, that guy's close, but not quite. That one's also close, but not quite. Like, cause I've thought about this, and that's the conclusion I always end up coming to.
Right. Well, I only have a couple, and then I don't know if you guys found extras or you just kind of specifically targeted like one person, but like, I like to grab a grab bag, just, you know, just like look at a bunch of. Yeah. So one of them for me personally, because I love her in both the novels and the TV show and the video game. Yennefer Vengerberg.
Yeah, Trish and Yennefer. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I want to specifically go specifically Yennefer, because there's a lot of like, obviously they are called sorceresses and all that, but like specifically it's like you have the innate ability to use magic, but she had to go and learn how to like use it through reading and training.
Hold on,
fucking
Matt.
and what?
Matt, are we about to fight? Why
Did
are you not
just say and fucking?
Yeah, he did say and fucking. That's not important.
No,
right
was
now.
that scene?
That's not important.
An audience.
Yeah. Look, that's not important right now. Are you giving my girl Trish shit? Are you not giving her credit?
Listen, I'm in Team Yennefer all the way, baby.
Get the fuck out of
We are here to burn the earth.
All right. Here's my thing. I'll agree with you for the show. I don't like Trish in the show, but Trish in the games, come on now.
No, I'm not saying. So again, yeah, I love Trish in the games as well. I just like Yennefer. I just prefer the character. And
You
the
guys are
type of
killing me.
those type of ladies.
You keep calling her Trish. It's Triss. And
Oh,
it's
fuck.
killing me.
I'm sorry. My brain is
No,
shot.
they call her Trish.
Triss.
Too.
You're right,
No one
Triss.
says I've never heard someone call her Trish.
Pretty sure they
Sorry,
say Trish
no,
in the
sorry.
game.
All right, damn it, Josh. Now you're confusing me. It's Triss.
I
You're
could
right.
be wrong. I could be wrong, but
I'm just tired.
Sworn. Anyway,
Sorry.
it doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that Matt is not giving her the credit she is due.
I'm not saying. I said I liked her. I just like Yennefer more. What
No,
the
I know,
fuck?
but you're saying, Yennefer went through all this hardship and had to learn. Like Trish didn't do any of that.
I didn't.
Like she just didn't do that.
I love
she
that.
did
This-
that too.
This has devolved into Wizard Waifu Wars.
Yes, yes, it has.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Well, because you said I'm gonna focus more on Yennefer. All right,
Because
listen,
that's.
pal.
Okay. So I'm focusing more on her because.
Malding.
Listen, pal.
All right. So is she a wizard or sorcerer
Yennefer
for D&D?
and Triss?
D&D, yeah, D&D context.
I think the spellcasters in Witcher are all Ooh.
Because there is something to be said about them having, like, you have that initial, like, spark or innate ability that, like, elven blood or whatever the hell, that allows you to cast spells. But you have to go and learn it. You have to go in wizard, sorcerer school, and again, through, like, practicing and learning and fucking, you learn all these things to master the magical arts.
Okay, well, here's the thing. The idea of learning and practicing is not anti-sorcerer, right? Because you could be a sorcerer who's like, your dad's a dragon, so you're naturally gifted, but someone could still teach you how to use your abilities, right? So I don't know that the learning thing is like you're anti-sorcerer. As far as they are in The Witcher, though, I don't know.
It's hard. I wanted to talk about it because I thought it was interesting.
Here's where I was gonna initially say they're wizards, but actually I think they might be sorcerers. And there's a key point, like a key plot point. They have to use their own life essence for magic. Like they're pulling directly from themselves and or something very close by, but even when they're using something else as like a conduit, there's still the implication of like you're using your own body's like energy. They don't really specify exactly what it is.
Right.
But the fact that they kind of have to pull from themselves implies this like innate, the magic is coming from you specifically, whereas like a wizard in D&D is like, I'm a big fucking nerd who knows the right equation to make the weave do what I want.
So, Matt, I know you wanted to say something, but I feel like I want to interrupt here. Technically,
Yeah,
you
go for it.
are using your own energy as a 5e wizard. That's what the spell slots are, right? You're like draining yourself. That's why, like, specifically things like arcane
But
recovery, right? The idea is that you are like
But you can't
trying to.
you can't kill yourself.
The same thing with the sorcerer. You can't
Yeah, I
do.
was gonna say you can't kill
No,
yourself
I
as a
know, but
sorcerer
what I'm
either.
saying is, I know, but I'm saying the fact that in The Witcher they straight up like kill themselves implies that it goes beyond just like using your life essence to fuel this. It's like, it's a little deeper than that, which to me implies it's more intrinsic to the like body/soul.
Well, so I actually will put forth this. They're basically over channeling.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I see
I don't
that.
know. I think I'm falling on they're more sorcerers, especially because they do make a point that you can't be a spellcaster without the initial innate talent in the Witcher universe.
Unless you're a witcher or whatever. and
Well, no, because
they learn glyphs.
witchers don't use magic. Witchers
they use the
signs.
glyphs.
Those aren't
Signs,
magic.
whatever.
They make no. They make a very important distinction that a witcher is not using magic. They're using signs, and the signs are not from them so much as the signs are more like a rune knight in D&D, right? Like they're using these sigils to invoke something, but they are not casting a spell themselves.
Right, they're using magic writing to do
Yeah,
magic.
but it's not
Yeah,
coming
it's-
from them, and
Damn
they
it,
don't
Josh.
need to have any sort of innate talent to do it, is the big thing.
I was gonna say it's like the Fate Magecraft versus actual magic. Like Magecraft is the like cheap bargain bin.
Sam's
easy to
not
pull
here,
off.
we can't. We can't.
Don't worry. That's why I was explaining it. It's fine. Don't you worry. Okay. Don't you worry. But Sam's not the only Fate aficionado here.
I know.
Well.
I'm just saying, me and Matt have nothing to add to the Fate thing.
There's Saber.
There's
a lot of them. There's a new one, and it's Siegfried's wife, Kriemhild, and she's amazing.
Stop.
Too many sabers.
So
Too many sabers.
What were you saying, Isaiah? It's the difference. Like, what were you saying about the difference?
Oh, well, so, in confines of that series, like Magecraft is what mages pull off, which are like mathematical equations using like an inner secret sauce, and then true magic is like 9th level time displacement, reality altering shit. That's kind of what the sorceresses in The Witcher do, right? They're kind of like changing reality to do the things they want.
Yes, they are.
Whereas the glyphs, I guess I could, to make this simpler, Witchers use cantrips.
Kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of. But Witchers use cantrips that were like given to them on items, right? Like they're not using cantrips from themselves, I think is the important distinction, right?
Well, no, I don't think that's necessary, because like Geralt doesn't have to hold a magic item to use.
No, it's not literally
seal.
a physical item, but the way the signs work is like you have to kind of attune to them. They don't really go into this in the show, but you have to sort of like attune to the sign for it to like gift you its ability, and it's a specific thing the Witchers have to do like ahead of time. Like there's a lot of weird rules with how the signs are.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, it's again, they don't go into the Witcher signs very much in the show, so like, you know.
Right. Well, I'm even saying like I read the book series, and even I don't remember that, like them going into that much detail about it. So maybe it could also just be I forgot. So I don't know.
I mean, it's not like a tremendous amount of detail, but they mention that sort of being a thing. But wait, so Isaiah, are you falling in the camp of the Witcher casters are sorcerers or wizards?
So much like we were like, Guts is probably not a fighter, he's a barbarian with some fighter levels. I think sorceresses in The Witcher are sorceresses, are like, that's like a 2-level dip in sorcerer, and then everything else is wizard.
That feels like a cheat, but all right, yeah, I guess.
They're just all multi
hard lines. Only hard lines in this house.
No, incorrect. You know that's not how I play.
But yeah, I guess I could see that argument too.
Yeah.
That being said, I want to hear the other examples you got, man.
Yeah. So one of the examples I have on here, it's mostly a meme, but also it's kind of calling out a lot of like players in general.
Oh no.
Megumin from Konosuba.
I mean,
I haven't watched Konosuba.
She's an evocation wizard. Her only attack is fireball, and it's D&D fireball of just I blow shit the fuck up.
It's a massive nuclear warhead of a fireball. It's fucking awesome.
But not only wizards can cast fireball.
No, but she's an evocation wizard. Her whole thing is about maxing out her damage.
She has the big staff. She uses she wears a hat.
The hat is not a requirement.
Get out of here. It's part of it.
The hat is not a requirement. I fight this narrative.
And then literally she uses all of her spell slots in one blast, and then she has no energy. And there you go. And you have to wait till the next day to cast.
I literally can't argue this, so I'll have to take your word for it.
So let's put it this way. She has a spell book in the sense that she can learn spells from other people. They talk about how that's a mechanic in like the universe. She just refuses to. She has one spell, and goddammit, she's gonna use that spell.
It's great.
Nice. All right.
It's a great show, by the way.
All right.
Definitely watch season 3 coming up, baby. Let's go, and the side series. Can't wait.
Hell yeah. All right, so we got.
Yeah, so I got that as a meme. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, some of like Disney ones. So you have like, I don't know like what Maleficent would be, but like you have Jafar who's using enchantments and stuff. He's literally, he has a staff that mind controls the Sultan throughout the whole fucking movie, but then he turns into a genie. So then that kind of like that kind of scrubs him out the window.
Maleficent is like a fucking triple multi-class.
She's the
she's kind of a lot because Maleficent's got some wizard energy, she's got some druid energy, she's got some warlock energy. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's definitely big mid-max munchkin multi-classer.
Yeah, I don't know if I could even attempt to pare her down.
Merlin from the Sword in the Stone.
I mean, Merlin, yeah,
probably either I guess divination or possibly chronergy, like time wizard, because he time travels and all that nonsense.
Yeah, I think divination wizard makes sense because he has kind of a religious bent.
Yeah. Yeah, I did Disney stuff. And then other than that, the other two examples I have here are like, again, not controversial, but mostly like argument. Like people don't know which is which, what is what. So so just viewers at home, I was never really big on the Harry Potter series growing up. I'm now rewatching the shows for a Strixhaven campaign I'm going to be running, and I'm like, oh, this is a good example to finally watch them. So a lot of people make this argument. It's like Harry Potter is like is specifically like you're a wizard, Harry. But a lot of people, like on Reddit and all this stuff I've been reading and looking up, articles are like, no, they're sorcerers because it's the same deal kind of with like the witches where it's like you have to be born to do it. But then there are some rare people like Hermione that like aren't born with magic but then can learn magic. It's weird. So I don't know. I feel like the Harry Potter stuff, I feel like most of those, like all the wizard in there are deified wizards. At least I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Am I funking here, gentlemen?
I understand the point that part of Harry Potter is like you have to have a certain special sauce when you're born. My argument is that none of the Harry Potter wizards at any point do any kind of meta magic, really. And I feel like that's a pretty important one. The spells are very hard-coded, and also they have to memorize them. They don't just have them, right? Like a sorcerer doesn't memorize the spells they have. They just do them because they are just like in their brain. In Harry Potter, they very specifically have to memorize like the words and everything, and if they don't, they just don't get to cast it. So
right.
Yeah, I think they're wizards more. So,
yeah, I would err on the side of wizards. I think the problem with Harry Potter is that there is little to no consistency in spell casting for Harry Potter, nor do we even really understand how the magic system really works because it was never designed to be thoroughly explained. So
I forgot.
It's rough.
Yeah, I forgot what the example. Brandon Sanderson, he came up with with the ideas. So there's like hard magic systems and then soft magic systems.
I mean,
soft magic system.
He didn't come up with that, but
well, I think he coined the phrase or whatever. Where
no, that's been around a long time.
Well, I'm just gonna give him credit because I like Brandon Sanderson.
I mean,
read his books, by the way.
Fine, but yeah.
Plug, but yeah. So like, soft magic systems are the rules are very loosey goosey and they work off energy, whatever the fuck that means. Yeah, and then you have the hard magic systems like again Brandon Sanderson shit where it's like the Mistborn series where it's like, okay, you have to eat a certain type of metal to get a certain type of power. So like, bronze does this to you, copper does this to you, silver does this to you, and basically everyone is Magnetos, but very hyper focused Magnetos. Yeah, a lot of people who read Mistborn are gonna be very weird by that. But it is what it is. That is exactly what they are. They are all hyper-focused Magnetos that have to eat the metals.
I will take your word for it.
Good series, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Potter is trying to be a hard magic system because there are some rules and stuff in place, right? Like, you're not... I think this rule gets broken, but you're not supposed to be able to, like, cast without your wand, for example. And you do have to like know the right words for the spell for it to function. So there is some hard magic in there, but yeah, like Isaiah said, it gets a little wishy-washy at times.
Right.
But I still think they're wizards.
Okay. Because that does confirm a lot. Because I read a lot of people arguing it's like no, they're sorcerers, and I'm like, but it's in the title. Anyway,
I've heard some wacky takes that they're fucking. That Harry specifically is a rogue arcane trickster in the beginning of the books, and I'm like, all right, now we're just pulling hairs here, but whatever.
Yeah. And then the last one.
Wait. Yep. Isaiah.
Sorry.
What do you fall on? What side of that one do you fall on specifically?
Harry being a rogue?
No. Wizards or sorcerers for Harry Potter.
Oh, wizards.
Yeah.
I thought I had said wizards earlier. My bad.
I thought you did too. That's why.
Did he? Oh, then maybe I'm just not paying attention. That's entirely possible.
It's all right. There's XP smoothie going around, boys. We got another batch here.
No, I'm just stupid.
And then the last one, Josh, because you already said you disagree with this, but Gandalf the Wizard, sir, he is called the Wizard. He is a fucking wizard. He's got the robe and everything.
Is not a wizard.
How dare you? How dare you insult
Isaiah,
all the tokens? I don't know. Yeah, explain to me why you don't think it is.
Should I explain?
One of you two.
It's fine. I've been speaking very little this episode. So the problem with Gandalf is that we never see Gandalf cast. Like, that's not true. He casts the light spell and he shatters a rock and he summons some eagles. But and I guess he blows up Saruman's staff. But at no point do we actually see Gandalf cast spell. He also casts daylight. I'm actually getting to the point. I would argue that Gandalf is a druid. Like when you think of what he actually does, and I've only seen the movies, full disclosure, but he parts the clouds, skywrite / daylight. He creates light. He shatters a boulder. He summons animals. He's got an animal companion in Shadowfax, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Is Gandalf a druid?
No. I don't think Gandalf's a druid either.
Well, I guess this is where it's like in D&D terms, maybe, because like people also like in media, they're like, yeah, druids are wizards and sorcerers. It's all the same like thing.
No.
Like,
So in D&D terms, I don't think Gandalf fits any of them is the problem. And the reason I don't think Gandalf fits any of them is because, yes, as Isaiah just pointed out, and as I said before, there is no hard codified rules to what Gandalf's magic is, or any of the wizards in Lord of the Rings. All the wizards just do shit. They just do shit, right? There is a scene where him and Saruman have a little like wizardy duel in the tower, and there's a little bit of like throwing each other around with some fucking like, I don't know, beefed up mage hand or telekinesis or something.
Magical force.
Yeah. The reason though, the big thing with Gandalf that I think just disqualifies him from any D&D equivalency at all is because Gandalf's basically a fucking deva.
True.
Because
are you saying angels can't be wizards, Josh? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because angels are angels. Because for those who aren't aware, which is probably a small minority, but you know, in the Lord of the Rings lore, the wizards, there is only 5 or 6. There's Gandalf the Grey,
5.
Saruman the White, Radagon the Brown. Oh, there's 5. Yeah,
Radagon,
those 3.
Radagast, you mean?
Radagast the Brown, sorry. Radagast the Brown. And then the 2 blue wizards who are mentioned but never seen, and we get no names for them. So there
isn't there a thing that they go to the east and then they like fuck around and never come back?
I don't even think we know that. I don't think we know basically nothing about the blue wizards other than that they exist. And there's 2 of them.
Yo, Amazon, why don't you do a show about that? Come on,
that would
man.
be interesting. But anyway, there are 5 wizards in Lord of the Rings. So you already have a problem in that there's this weird dark, like Sith Lordian, there's rules about how many there can be, which is not a thing with D&D at all. Obviously, like anyone who's a big enough fucking nerd can wizard up. But also, their powers are literally divinely gifted because the wizards in Lord of the Rings are like ancient beatific beings sent down to protect the planet, and they're some of the oldest beings on said planet, which is why, if you're those who have seen the Lord of the Rings movies, when Gandalf quote unquote dies, spoilers for Lord of the Rings, I guess, when Gandalf quote unquote dies and he comes back, he's the White Wizard. And the reason he's the White Wizard is because Saruman turned evil and the wizards are not allowed to be evil, so Saruman got demoted and then Gandalf got promoted to his spot and became the White Wizard because the White Wizard is more powerful than the Grey Wizard. All of this bullshit is so incredibly not D&D wizards in any way. This is like weird demigod angel powered things, then they they don't even cast spell. The thing about Gandalf is he doesn't cast spells. He just throws out magical bullshit at random and stuff just fucking happens. You know what I mean?
So here's the thing. He does cast spells.
Like, he sort of does, but he also sort of just does stuff.
Kinda, yeah, because we've seen him use somatic, verbal, and material components.
I don't remember him doing any verbal anything other than shouting.
Whenever he summons the eagles, he whispers an incantation.
Yeah, he has to whisper to the moths or whatever.
He also uses the crystal in his staff to cast spells.
The crystal, yeah, the crystal like glows and shit, so that one's like sure.
I think at one point we see him using like hand signs of some sort.
I still doubt, like, the way he does magic it all seems like divine intervention or something close to it rather than any kind of like spell casting really. And then
I mean, he could be
sense.
Yeah, I mean, he could be a Circle of the Land druid. They're literally the ones that they get like a bunch of features that are exactly like the wizard, like arcane recovery and
either. Like, I don't think he applies to anything. I just don't think you can apply him to D&D logic. I just don't think he fits.
I don't know. I honestly gotta disagree. The more I think about it, the more I feel like Gandalf is a druid.
If any of them are a druid, it would be Radagast.
He's also a druid.
Okay,
I kind of think they all are, because like a big thing that we saw with Saruman as well is like weather control was a big, like weather and animal control. He sends the flock of familiars after the fellowship, and he creates the blizzard.
Yeah, the blizzard. He's literally he's like chanting on top of his
weather
tower.
Controlling spells though. It's not like that's what druid only stuff.
Yeah, but that's not like their bread and butter, right? Like druids are about like nature and the weather, and there is like, as much as there is like a more outwardly deific religious aspect to the wizards of Lord of the Rings, there also is this nature-based like the gods are, you know, the gods created the world, but the gods are the world kind of thing. And I know that that's not how it is, but
that
it has
nature
that feel.
That nature stuff has a very divine bent to it.
Yeah, but that's But I would argue that druids in 5e are, I would call them divine casters. I would call them faith-based casters.
I think they are. Actually, it says it like in their the box text.
No.
Like, I mean, no.
There's like, maybe in terms of, it might say that in some flavor shit, but like there's no hard distinction between arcane or divine magic in 5e.
What do you mean? Yeah, it specifically says
there is nothing in a spell that says this is a divine spell, this is an arcane spell.
Because one will say only druids and clerics can cast this, and one will say only wizards, sorcerers, and warlocks will cast it. Like,
yeah, but then you'll get like a weird subclass that steals from one of the others. Or there's no hard-coded split between the two in 5e. There might have been in older editions, but there definitely is not in 5e.
Just because it's not hard-coded doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And while I would want it to be hard-coded, because as I keep saying, codify things, it absolutely exists. Like, all of the flavor text supports it.
It exists in flavor, sure.
Also, wouldn't oh my god, now wouldn't Saruman be like a wizard who then dipped warlock after realizing, oh man, this magic power is way easier to use?
I mean, I guess that's not really, that's neither here nor there. I just
no. Because as far as I'm aware, he doesn't get any more powerful from Sauron. He just more like enters into a business agreement with Sauron.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Sauron gives him Sauron.
He's in a business.
Sauron.
He's in a business deal.
He does give him like materials to use, but like at no point does he like give him power. Because if he did, when whatever the actual god of Lord of the Rings disowned Saruman, no, the good one.
Oh, I don't, Mega God.
Yeah, when he like turns his back on Saruman, his magic just stops working. So.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he loses his juice.
It's been a while. I gotta rewatch Lord of the Rings.
I just do not think you can apply D&D logic to the Lord of the Rings situation. They're just too weird. I think they just are their own thing. And I don't think you need to apply D&D logic to everything.
No, you don't have to.
There's certain magic systems where it just doesn't work, you know? It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, I agree.
So I kind of want to, I know this isn't my show, but we talked about favorite subclass. And I'm really curious about that because we also been listing off wizards for an hour now, but I do kind of want to know why y'all pick your favorite subclasses. Like, what's the reason?
Wait, did you pick yours? I don't remember either of you saying yours. Now that I'm thinking, wait, did I just pay no attention?
I thought I did, but if I didn't, it's Conjuration. Conjuration's my favorite school by far.
No, you definitely did not say that.
What about you, Matt?
Mine's Abjuration. Only
that's right. You did.
Yeah, mostly because I've been playing it for 4 years. So, and I literally I make it. I know there's a lot of contention between people who like, ban counterspell. It's so broken. It's like, don't worry, folks. Wizards of the Coast are already doing that with spell-like abilities. So you won. Fuck you.
They're not, but we're not getting into this right now.
Anywho's I like the Abjuration Wizard. Like I said earlier, it's you can protect your allies and yourself with the Arcane Ward feature. You literally are I joke that I'm the anti-mage. I literally, if I see another spellcaster on that other team, I literally point at them and go, no, you can't. No, put that staff there. No, stop. Like, I just shut them down. Because I'm literally there to dispel magic them. I'm literally there to counterspell them. I'm there to make sure the other spellcasters do nothing. And they can fuck all.
Okay, that's interesting. So you like playing Wizard as more of a controller then?
Kind of a controller. I play him, the Lizard Wizard. I play him as a mix of a controller and utility. Because we have a Ranger that does a fuck ton of damage. A Warlock that does a fuck ton of damage. A Barbarian that does a fuck ton of damage. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think I need to be a blaster this campaign. I'm fine. So I literally specifically take every spell in the book that doesn't deal damage, except for maybe like one or two just for like the emergency. Oh no, I'm royally fucked unless I kill this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just hit 14th level, so I got the final ability of the Abjuration Wizard, which basically is magic resistance, spell resistance, like advantage on spell saving throws.
Nice.
Which is really neat. Yeah, it's fucking sick.
And also resistance to damage.
That's right. Now I'm the mega anti-mage.
You are very anti-mage. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, right? I think second close would be Bladesinger.
Same.
All right.
Wizard.
All right.
The
We're doing it.
Blade.
We're doing it. We're doing the thing.
Okay. Ooh.
I don't like spell slinger. Oh fuck! I said it wrong. I don't like
spell slingers. I sling my spell at you,
imagine
cowboy.
Having a bad opinion. I'm kidding.
I actually read it again today. I don't like Bladesinger.
What about what about it? Don't you like? Yeah. Not that I don't care. I honestly just want to like generally like
first and foremost, I don't like the flavor of like, because Bladesinger is not a wizard who's like hardened by war and picked up a sword. Bladesinger is like, I sing a weird song and like dance around the battlefield avoiding the pew pew lasers.
It's performance it's mostly based on like old elven it used to be the elven only spell class, but
fucking I'm not trying to play Yuri on Ice with my wizard. Like, I'm just not about that. So that's problem number one. I don't like the flavor. Problem number two, their abilities feel kind of boring. So like, you get Blade Song, which is cool, but then their every other ability is like kind of whatever. It's like, all right, you get extra attack, which is like, okay, I guess.
That's kind of copying a bit from, I think Valor Bards also get extra attack at 6th level instead.
They do.
So.
And then you can use your reaction to expend a spell slot and reduce the damage by that amount equal to 5 times your spell. Like, you get like a shieldy thing, which is like, fine.
But I'd rather just cast shield.
Yeah. And then you add your intelligence modifier to the damage of melee weapon attacks while Blade Song is active, which is like a whatever.
I mean that's not bad.
Here's the thing though, it's a level 14 ability and it's a passive, and I'm like,
It's like, yeah, I do more damage with my spell blaster.
No, you only do more damage with your melee
hashing.
attacks.
Right, my spell slinging blade. I take my.
I just
what's the shit, Isaiah? What's the blade from the Eberron? The dual scimitar.
Oh, the double-bladed scimitar?
Yeah, double-bladed scimitar. You blade singer, double-bladed scimitar, Darth
I've been
Maul.
thinking about it. Don't you worry.
Hell yeah, brother.
Plus,
It's
like,
fucking
here's
sick.
the other thing, too, with Blade Singer, is so you're only wearing light armor, so you're not that much beefier.
Well, you just make him a dex,
And
or
then-
a dex paladin.
I mean, yeah,
Holy
sure.
shit, a dex wizard. Fuck. Can't
Sure.
English. Too much XP smoothing.
You're wearing light armor, you still have low health because you're still a wizard, and, like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of awkward that you have to do this thing where you kind of dance between, that was an unintended pun. You have to kind of weave between, like, I'm shooting out a bunch of spells, and, I guess I'm gonna go hit you with my sword now. Like, you have to kind of go between the two, and it doesn't feel, I mean, I haven't played it, so maybe if I were to play it, I would change my mind a little bit. It doesn't feel very intuitive just reading through it. Like, I'm a little conflicted. Like, do you want me? Because normally when you're a wizard, you stand in the back line and fucking let them rip. It's like, do you want me to do that as a blade singer, or do you not want me to do that?
No, they,
Well, I
they
think-
specifically tell you in the flavor text that they do not want you to do that.
Do you not want me to do what?
To sit in the back.
Right, but
They want
I
you to
would
be up
argue
front.
It's counterintuitive to the way that Blade Singer is built to do anything but be up front.
like, you're not that beefy though.
Yes,
Well, you
you
get-
are.
You can only be
Yeah.
up front so much. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
can get a
disagree.
you can get a pretty high AC, but if you get hit, you're still gonna get gabonked anytime you get hit because you still don't have a lot of health. Like, you're still
I mean,
a
that's
wizard.
fine,
It
but like
doesn't matter.
if something manages to get through
That
your
matters.
AC, like if you build a blade singer I don't want to say correctly. If you build a blade singer with high AC, like you can get pretty redonkulous, like with shield. If you save up in the campaign, get the 20th level, you can get your AC well past 30 if you activate your fucking blade song. I've seen crazy people
Right,
like do
but-
stuff
but-
like that.
Spell saves and stuff, like, you can still get whomped by saves and, like, or breath weapons, or, like, there's still a lot of things that could wiggity whomp you, so you're not, like,
Well, so
that much beefier.
the reason why I say not really is because Song of Rest exists.
What is...
When you
What?
so 10th level ability, you can direct your magic to absorb damage while your blade song is active. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to expend one spell slot and reduce the damage to you by an amount equal to 5 times that spell slot level.
Song of Defense?
Yeah,
You said Song of Rest.
sorry, Song of Defense.
Reading the wrong document, sir.
Oh no, I'm getting my bard boons mixed
So-
up
I
I
with
was gonna
my
say,
boon
yeah.
boons.
Song of Rest is the bard ability.
So if you have, you know,
Yeah, so you could do that at level 10, and sure. I just...
and if you mix that with something like, although I suppose you can't, but like what I've done is I either have that active, or as opposed to haste, I'll have absorb elements on the back line. So you can sort of swap between the two, so you're not constantly being like, oh no, now I have to just be like, well, do I want to burn a higher level spell slot? It's like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna half whatever the hell you just threw at me, you know?
Yeah,
But
I
again,
mean, oh, sorry, go for it.
you're the Final Fantasy 11 ninja tank, where it's like, I'm a tank because I just can't get hit. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
get
sorry,
what the point is.
the Tarrasque will have a hard time hitting you.
Yeah,
when
I
you
get
have
it. I get
33
what the
AC.
idea is. I just...
Yeah.
Like... I don't know, I said this before on the fighter episode. If I'm gonna play my Magic-y Knight, I want it to be a fighter with some magic sauce, not to be a wizard with some fighter sauce.
Yeah, it's weird with the whole like Gish like idea of a character that uses a weapon and slings spells and all that. I've noticed that like for players and
Because,
like
okay.
some players, it feels better that if you are a fighter person that can that has a little bit of magic,
Yes.
than someone who
Because-
like the blade singer who has literally it's a wizard, so it has all the spells, but then it can kind of fight. But I think the blade singer has that like nice balance between that. At least I feel it.
My problem is if I'm gonna play the idea of like a magic knight, you know, a warrior with spells, the fantasy in my head is I'm a badass knight dude in plate mail armor with a shield and a sword, and I fucking run my blade along my shield and it bursts into flames, and then I tap my hilt against the shield and I have a magical barrier up in front of me, and then I charge dick first at the dragon.
So a paladin.
Sure, but I would
sort of
argue that-
paladin-esque energy. Blade Singer is like, I'm a wizard, I pull out my like long sword or whatever, because you can choose what you're proficient in, which, I mean, that's cool. I like that. That's an interesting touch. You can choose what kind of one-handed melee weapon I'm proficient in. And then I sort of sing a song and do a little dance, and I'm like weaving around and slicing at the legs of the enemy occasionally, and then I throw out a cantrip, and it's just not the same kind of vibe, and I'm not about it.
Well, I think your problem lies in that you are you want Magic Knight, and that's not what Blade Singer has ever even pretended to be.
I know. That's why I'm saying I don't like Blade Singer.
But I just don't think it's necessarily right to be like, this isn't this thing when it's not. That's not what it's supposed to be.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just telling you why I don't like it. I don't give a shit what like it's supposed to be. I'm telling you why I don't like it.
No, I know.
That's right, Josh. Plant them feet.
You specifically
I fucking
said,
will.
when I think of Magic Knight, but a Blade Singer is not a Magic Knight.
I know. My point is, it is within the same realm of sort of like a melee-esque spellcastery person. Okay, maybe I shouldn't use the word Magic Knight. When I think about a melee fighter who also weaves spells into their fighting,
A gish.
I think of an Eldritch Knight. I hate the word gish. I don't like saying
I do
it.
too.
It's fine. It's fucking D&D.
I know, but it's a fucking dumb word.
I
think
didn't
I also
invent
think
the
it's
fuck.
stupid as
It
hell.
sounds
I didn't
goofy.
invent it.
Anyway, yes, fine, whatever. Yes, if I'm doing the Gish thing, I want to be an Eldritch Knight, not a Blade Singer or a Paladin. I like Paladin appeals to me more as like a magical melee fighter than a Blade Singer does. It's just not into it. Plus, if I'm doing an Eldritch Knight, I have some options. I can do like a two-handed greatsword Eldritch Knight. I can fucking have a maul. I can be in plate armor. The armor's a big one for me. Like the idea of like, I'm running into the battlefield head first, but I'm wearing light armor like really bugs me for some reason.
I mean,
the mental
really,
image of that is really goofy.
It
to
really
me.
doesn't matter because you have Mage Armor as a spell.
I understand it
You can
doesn't
flavor
matter
Mage Armor to just be
mechanically.
magic armor, like.
I understand it doesn't matter mechanically. I'm just saying, like, the concept of that is just really goofy to me. Like, I'm like wearing Gambison and pulling out my longsword and like running at the dragon dick first, as opposed to like I'm wearing full plate mail. Like, it just, my brain just is like, no like.
Gotta get out of the box sometimes, man. Open your horizons.
Like I said, I understand there's ways to do it, and I haven't played Blade Singer, and I probably, if someone was like gun to my head and like, you have to play a Blade Singer, I'd be like, okay, fine, I can make it fun for myself. I'll figure it out. I will. But by default, it just doesn't rustle the jimmies the way I want it to, you know?
Yeah, we can. When I run that, I would say, if you guys want that level 20 one shot thing, I want to run. Let me know. We can get a big group. No. You can play Blade Singer, Josh. Level 20 wizard. Come on, man,
I
do
will
it.
Definitely not. And of all the classes,
all at once.
No, yeah, of all the classes to potentially jump in on, a level 20 Blade Singer sounds rough.
Yeah, I
It's
did that
really
once.
not. I've done it. It's not hard.
Yeah.
All right, Isaiah, we can't all have a massive, huge fuck off penis like you.
Fucking tripod over here.
It doesn't mean that I'm saying them. All I'm saying is that Blade Singers, I would say, is one of the easiest level 20 wizards to run because you're not really worrying about spells that much. Like,
also, as an aside, I look at the art for the Blade Singer, the like two elves, and it just does nothing for me.
You don't like
it? All.
I
don't like
cool.
the two elves. Nah, I don't like it. I mean, it's not bad, but it just. A lot of the time I will look at a class, and part of my judgment of if I'm into it or not is if there's a really cool art attached to it. Not always, but a lot of the time. And I look at that and I'm just like, nah, this does not appeal.
Well, I think it's better than when it was in the Sword Coast Adventures guide and it didn't have art at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's better.
Which was like, what the fuck? Again, I feel bad because the Sword Coast Adventures guide has some cool info and lore in there, but as a Dungeons and Dragons, like, you know, player book, or I don't even know what kind of book it was. I don't even know whose book was for.
It's basically been retconned out of existence.
Yeah, definitely.
They basically pretend like it's not a thing.
They took the one thing that people really liked from the book and. Yeah, but
I mean, obviously the art is not relevant to the class. I just.
But the art can help. Like if you're picking, like you're looking through the book, you're like, ooh, what's that?
Doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
Doesn't do nothing for me.
But I guess now, kind of getting back to the sub questions that we kind of had.
Oh yeah, I
this.
didn't really get into my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I just complained about Blade Singer.
I thought you said Scribes was your favorite earlier.
I did, but I think Isaiah wanted me to like explain why, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I don't like I said, I think it's partially just because Scribes feels like a wizard that's really doubling down on being a wizard, and like, you know, that part of their abilities is like, hey, you know, you can transcribe spells really, really fast because you have a magical
very nice
quill.
feature. Yep.
You know, your spell book isn't just a book; it is literally like a magically infused, semi-sentient thing, which I like a lot because I like it being more than just a book. It also gives you a little like low-key pet, which I'm always a big fan of.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, you can cast from it too. Like it's your foci,
you can cast
which is really
from
cool.
it. Yeah, so that's a fun thing. Yeah, just the flavor of Scribe I like a lot. And if I'm playing a wizard, I want to be homeboy in the back shouting at the paladin like, "You're doing great, Jim. Keep it up." Time to fireball that son of a bitch. And just nuking my friends and hoping they survive.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Like, I love the, like, sitting in the back, all the fucking magical runes weaving about me, and I'm just throwing mad shade down the battlefield. Plus, I love all the, you know, like, if I'm gonna, that's why I think that's the thing with the Blade Singer is, like, I want to be sitting there, like, throwing spells and, like, doing all this crazy shit and looking at all my different spell options. Whereas with Blade Singer, you're not, like, de-incentivized, but you're incentivized to go in there more. And if you're going in there more, it sort of limits what spells you're gonna take that are gonna work, you know? Like, you're less likely to take Fireball, for example, because you don't want to Fireball yourself, and you're gonna be up in there all the time, or a lot of the time.
Well, okay, here's my question then. Why is Swords Bard to you more agreeable than Blade Singer?
Because bards to me are not I'm aware that they are full casters in D&D, but bards to me do not feel like full casters, and I like that they have options and they sort of spread themselves out a little bit more. And a lot of the stuff I'm doing a lot of the spell casting for me that I want to do as a bard is not standing in the back line and throwing a fireball. If I'm playing a bard, I want to get in there, throw out my buffs, slap a homie on the ass to give him some polymorph, and then whip out my blades and fucking get in the fray of it and like talk mad shit, throw out the occasional vicious mockery. Like,
okay, that's fair, but you
different mental vibe.
Sure, you are aware that's not like the standard ideal of a bard, right?
I think it depends on which subclass. I think the bard subclasses really differ from each other quite a lot. So it sort of depends.
No, they do. Don't get me wrong. Like that's one of those ones where like I feel like much like fighter is basically the subclass completely changes the fighter, but I think the common understanding of bard is more of like a sing-songy supporter, try to keep the morale up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The bard is not expected to be standing 30 feet back throwing lightning bolt or whatever. They're expected to be at least somewhat in the fray so they can help the homies out.
No, I disagree. I think they would more often than not be in the back line so they can keep their buffs up without worrying about taking damage.
I mean, like I said, I don't even think bards should be full casters, so that's like a whole other thing. But whatever. Are you trying to like? Are you trying to like get me here? Like I don't.
No. I'm genuinely curious as to like why one feels different to you when to me I feel like they're the exact opposite.
Because the narrative is different between the two. Like
is it?
Yeah, like the types of characters that are bards is not the same as the type of character who is a wizard. And the type of character for a wizard, for me, it's much more appealing to be the Donald Duck who's like throwing out, Thunder 4 while Sora's in the fray getting dirty. And if the idea of if I'm playing a bard, I'm thinking more that like I'm part of the team, I'm there in the fray a bit more, but I'm not the front of the fight. I'm sort of like adjacent. I just think about the two tonally differently.
Interesting.
And again, could I flavor a Bladesinger to be more up my alley? Probably. I just, on paper, as it stands, it doesn't appeal to me that hard.
Okay. All right. That's all I was asking. That was it.
Yeah. But so kind of trying to get back to the other bits. Like, I don't know, because again, I think the Wizard's pretty good. There's like one or two things maybe about that like annoy me.
Say
but like, what? How
shit
would you,
on them.
Well, so how would you guys? Because I literally have like I think one thing I would change about the Wizard.
Say it.
So, why the fuck don't they get expertise in Arcana? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you telling me the Bard over here, fucking Mr. like I'm gonna fuck everything in sight? This motherfucker, he can get expertise in every goddamn skill in the game. But my big brainless wizard, no, I don't have I can have proficiency with Arcana and history, but I can't get expertise. Oh, the knowledge cleric, he can get it. But me, the wizard, the nerd, I can't get expertise in this nerd skills. Fuck out of here.
This is a very interesting gripe. This is not where I thought you'd be going.
No, I didn't either. I didn't think you'd be going here either. However, I don't disagree at all.
I don't disagree either.
Absolutely right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
That's the only thing I really like have.
I think it should be maybe expanded beyond just Arcana. Like I think it should be any of the skill proficiency you choose at character creation. You can choose to get expertise in one of those. I think.
Like maybe anything with intelligence based, like history or nature.
Well, no,
is nature intelligence? I don't remember.
Oh, I don't remember. But so they start with Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion. So I think you should be allowed to get expertise in one of those.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more so harping on Arcana because you were literally the wizard. You were literally bending the weave of magic.
Yeah, but not all wizards are like 100% Arcana style casty boys. You can make like you can make like a wizard who's got more of a religious bent, right? Like a divination wizard, or you could make a wizard who's like an archaeologist, so you're a big history nerd.
I guess, but I don't know. I feel like there's still some level of like knowledge of Arcana that you kind of have to have as a wizard.
You do, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have expertise.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, and that would actually also help part of my problem of when you level up and you don't get anything. One of those things you could get would be expertise. So, yeah, not something I thought you were gonna say, but I don't disagree.
Yeah, I mean, and then besides that, honestly, it's like this is mostly like a not really a complaint or like how to fix, but like helpful tip for like DMs out there. Because my DM does this for me, and he's been doing it for 4 years, and I've watched other campaigns where people do or don't do this. Allow players, if you have a wizard in your party, allow them to find spell books of other wizards or spell scrolls. Like I know you can roll on the table for rewards and get spell scrolls, and then like have a bad wizard show up, and then your party deals with them, and then your wizard picks up their spell book and goes, "Wow, there's a bunch of new spells in here that I can now copy." And it's like, yeah, like it helps and actually gives it makes your wizard want to spend his gold, and so he can like write down and copy spells and all that. And it's like a nice reward too for the player, because it's like, God, I don't want to hand out the third Vorpal sword. The fuck am I gonna get? Oh, I'll give Larry I'll give him a spell book. There you go. Here's your reward, Larry.
Actually, that does posit a question for me. How do we feel about the mechanic of like the spell books and spending gold to transcribe other spells and like that whole thing that wizards get?
I like it.
I like it
because I've heard some people really fucking hate it.
Isaiah, you want to go first?
I actually just realized that I never got to explain my subclass, but it's all right.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. I thought you said Conjuration.
No, I said it, but I didn't like because like you explained like you like
didn't
being
get into it.
Yeah, I didn't get to go into
I'm
it,
sorry, dude. We're all over the place here. Do you want to get into it now?
Yeah, I'll make it super quick. To me, despite what I said about blade singing, to me, my ideal wizard is like Yuna from Final Fantasy X. I think that was like my first introduction to the idea of like casty boys, where it's like I cast spells, I can drop nukes, but I specialize in dropping someone else on the field and having that thing deal with you. Basically, I love summoners, I love summoning, I love all of it. Everything that involves summoning, I'm like, this is the coolest shit on the planet. I want that. And Conjuration's literally that. I also love creation, like the idea of like creation magic, and Conjuration Wizard literally just says, you can just create something in your hands and it just exists in the world. So like,
are you talking transmutation?
No, Conjuration.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, so Conjuration Wizards have, what is it called? Oh, Minor Conjuration. Starting at 2nd level, when you select this school, you can use your action to conjure up an inanimate object in your hand or on the ground in an unoccupied space that you can see within 10 feet of you. This object can be no larger than 3 feet on a side and weigh no more than 10 pounds, and its form must be that of a non-magical object you have seen. The object is visibly magical, radiating a dim light out of 5 feet. The object disappears after 1 hour when you use this feature again, or if it takes any damage, or if it deals any damage. So I don't know, I always love the idea of character falls off cliff, summons like a tethered cord, like a grappling hook, and throws it to them, or summons a knife to cut the rope to set the trap off, or like if you have like a particularly smart character who's seen like a special kind of key for a lock, you can conjure that key and use it without having to steal it. Stuff like that. I just think that's so sick.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that ability. My problem is that ability kind of is poo-poo because it's really limiting. Like the rules are very strict on it. So it's kind of disappointing.
I think the only one that I would be like, this is kind of limiting, is if it deals any damage, because I like the idea of being able to like make your own weapons. But
I want to make my own bullets and be a gun wizard.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that limiting, right? It's like,
you can only make small objects and weigh no more than 10 pounds. That doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room.
I mean, it depends.
That sounds like a lot of bullets to murder.
Like, I can't make a 25-pound dumbbell.
Sure,
right?
But you could, for example, make a coiled, not like a coil of rope that's no larger than that fills a 3x3 foot space. Couldn't speak on that one. Like I like it because it's limiting in the sense that prestidigitation is limiting, but if you're creative with it, you can do a lot with it.
Yeah, same thing with like a lot of the illusion, like wizard, like subclasses. Like you have to really work with your GM to like, create the illusions and like make sure everything's kind of working. So it kind of definitely like GM and player like teamwork to like make certain spells and create, like use your creativity on them.
I feel like it's just too restrictive.
I also love the idea of like, I don't have any magic myself, but I can summon things that can do magic. I think that's a cool character idea of being like, oh, I'm this great wizard, but I can't do anything myself,
Actually, another thing. All right. What the fuck is the deal with benign transportation? That feels like really out of place to me and is not really conjuring.
Which ability is that?
You just swap places with somebody 30 feet away from you.
So the reason conjuration in D&D 5e is not only the ability to summon things, but also teleport. So Dimension Door, Teleport, Misty Step, all these spells are conjuration because it involves you teleporting. But with teleportation also comes with summoning. So you can summon creatures and other things from other dimensions or whatever. So it's weird that teleporting and summoning are like the same school of magic, but I guess it's easier because like,
well, I actually saw this online. The best way to describe why this makes sense is because teleporting is just summoning yourself to a specific location.
It is. I know what the logic is. I get it. I just wish there was something else in place of that ability.
Oh no, I love that ability. I've used it so many times. It's so fun.
I feel like that's not fulfilling your like dream of being a summoner though.
No, it totally is, because again, I'm summoning myself. Nothing is more of a summon than being like, I'm gonna be like, what I've done is I was playing in a game with a chase scene, and we were chasing someone. So I sent my familiar out of a tiny window. It was like a little, like the small windows at like the top of a wall. I sent it through, had it land on a roof. I teleported and switched places with that. The familiar flew out of the window to follow me, and I could switch my eyes to look through it to find the person, and then switch back to myself to keep following them. Like, it doesn't seem that cool, but when it works, it is so sick, and you can make it work in a lot of situations.
It's not necessarily its lack of coolness that I don't like. It's just its lack of feeling like a slightly different vibe, and it's the only ability like that within the Conjurer. You know?
Yeah, but I feel like I think the problem therefore is the thing with the Conjuration is that you need to encapsulate a lot of different aspects of magic within it. Because again, Conjuration is summoning, it's creation, it's teleportation. So I feel like if you didn't have one of each of those things, it wouldn't feel complete.
I guess.
That being said, I do have some gripes about Wizard. And that is the subclasses need more features. Because I love Conjuration.
I was kind of thinking that, yeah.
But I want more. Like, especially for things like divination, where your spell list is so small that you need to bolster it somehow. And look,
here's the thing, though. I do kind of agree that wizards feel a little anemic in terms of, subclass features, but everyone else gets the same amount. It's usually about 4 or 5. So,
sure, but my counter to that is fighter with feats. I don't see the problem with wizard just having more subclass features than other people.
Yeah,
if that's their thing.
But feats optional.
Again, I've said this before. I will basically never treat feats as optional because they're not anymore.
I know, but you have to think about this from the designer standpoint. When they were designing the game initially, before it came out, when they were thinking everything, they were thinking ahead of time, or when they were planning on releasing it, they said feats are optional. So they did not account for that as part of that design process. So if Wizard just suddenly had more class features than everyone else, that would feel kind of odd, No,
I think if that is sort of what this class is known for, then I think it works.
I don't think that's what it's supposed to be known for. I think they want it to be known for I have the most spells, suck my spells.
Basically, bro. I can do anything with the spells.
But the problem with that lies in that it's similar to my problem with fighter. It therefore creates the problem where, because its identity is versatility, it doesn't really have an identity, right? And we can dial this back. Sure. Fighters, okay, they get the most ASIs out of the game. So fighters on average are going to have the best stats out of every playable class because they can bump their stats to a ludicrous amount. Is that fair to say?
Which I believe was the original intended identity.
So if that's the case, I feel like it would be fine to have the wizards be like, okay, well, this is the class features class. In the same way that Bard is the only class that can support the way that it does, or Artificer is all about its utility. If that's the thing that the class is known for, I just say double down on those things.
I don't think that's the thing, though. That might be what you want the class to be known for, but I don't think that's the thing Wizard was supposed to be known for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that if the fact that it has a bunch of class features is its identity, then that's fine because that's its identity. I'm not saying that's what it is now, but if that's what it could be, then I think that would be fine.
Hard to balance.
Yeah, but okay. Here's the thing, though. This game doesn't have balance.
That's not true.
It has the vaguest notions of balance, but inter-character balance doesn't really exist because marshals exist and high-level spellcasters exist.
There is balance. The balance has a lot of different definitions. There is a type of balancing being had. And the main thing is, if you gave wizards a ton of class features, then you get into the realm of less so about them being powerful and more so I'm talking about them stepping on other people's toes.
Maybe, but I don't see a problem with them having, as opposed to like major class features, you can just give them a bunch of ribbon class features. If it was as simple as like for conjuration, it's like, oh, for their 5th level ability, whenever you cast Find Familiar, you can summon 2 familiars as opposed to 1. Or your familiar's summon distance is doubled.
Right. I mean, the other thing too we're kind of forgetting is with these classes, it's like, yeah, they expect you as a divination wizard, as a, conjuration wizard, they expect you to take some, if not most of your spells being from your, archetype. And this is going to like player handbook ones. But like, they don't expect you like to only take those spells, like only taking conjuration spells. You gotta like mix it up, and that's where like the wizard, where it's like, and again, subclasses. This is the main thing for 5e. It's all about the subclasses, baby. So if you want a specific type of wizard, you want to do a specific type of thing, you have to look at the subclasses. You can't just look at the class in general and just be like, all right, it doesn't do this thing I want, so.
I mean, there's a certain amount of design that goes into the class in general, so I don't think you have to look at it just to a point.
Right, but it's one of those things with 5e is specifically, it's so heavily designed on the subclasses.
Right, but Matt, what Isaiah is saying is he wants something to be changed on the intrinsic base class level. And there is certain things that are intrinsic to the base class. It's not only the subclasses.
No, I
yes,
know.
the subclasses are important, but it's not only that. So it's like, I do kind of want Wizard to have more class features, but I could also see the argument for why they shouldn't.
I wish their higher level ones where it's like signature spell or whatever, where it's like you can cast like a 1st level spell for free a day. Yeah. Like, why not have like a minor version of that where it's like, here's your miniature signature spell.
Yeah.
Instead of picking 2 spells, you pick 1 spell, and then once a day you can cast this for free. And then you have the higher level one where it's like, okay, now you can cast it for free forever.
Well, so you kind of have that because you have spell mastery, and then spell mastery at 18th level, which is you choose a 1st level spell and a 2nd level spell. Those you can cast without expending a spell slot. And then you have signature spell, which is 3rd level spells you can cast without expending a spell slot. You essentially get an extra spell slot. So they do kind of have what you're talking about, only at 18th and 20th level.
That's what
so
I meant, like,
it would be nice if it was spread out more.
Yeah, like I'm saying, a minor version of those ones spread out, where it's like, all right, pick one.
I think it should be every couple of levels. Like maybe at I don't know, 9th and 15th or 14th or 13th, something like that. You get 2 other versions of those. Yeah, that kind of goes back to the features thing, like their weird sort of lack of class features. I just don't know. I just don't know if handing them a shitload of class features via the subclasses would get out of hand.
I really don't think they would, because we do see other situations where classes get a weird amount of class features, like Monk. Monk gets something every single level, and more often than not, even if it doesn't show it, it gets multiple things every single level. Whether that's an increase to their damage output, increase to their key points, increase to their movement. Monks just get a bunch of shit, which is kind of funny because I feel like a lot of it doesn't do much, but that's a different argument. So different episode. So I feel like you could get away with it pretty easily with Wizard. Again, if you make them more ribbon-like abilities, things that don't intrinsically alter the way the class can be played, but they will ultimately bolster the thing that your subclass is based around. So if you can, maybe one of them is you can cast spells through your familiar, or again, your familiar can double its distance. Maybe like Pact of the Chain, it can attack.
You can already cast spells through your familiar.
Very specific spells.
I guess, yeah.
So if it was like the Trickster Domain Cleric, where you can just carte blanche cast spells through your Trickster, or your Duplicity, stuff like that. Or for Evocation, it goes farther than just being like, oh, I can make sure my friends don't get hurt. Like, what if one of evocation's things is like once a day you can add your proficiency, like you can double your proficiency modifier for a spell save, right? Just to be like, because evocation's whole thing is overwhelming force. If it's like, all right, cool, I dominate and I'm gonna burn my my overpower ability to increase my my DC by 3 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Side note, evocation feels a little wonky to me.
Really? Why is that?
So like sculpt spell, although it's cool, I almost like if I'm playing the evocation wizard and I'm like, my whole thing is I just blow shit up, then I feel like I don't give a shit to sculpt my spell. I'm just gonna let it loose and be like, if he dies, he dies. You know? So it's like weirdly careful for someone that I feel like shouldn't be.
Well, but there's a thing, because there's that meta level of like, hey guys, we're playing in a game together. Hey Larry, could you not fucking fireball me again, please?
I just feel like sculpt spells should be on somebody else, like on a different subclass. I'm not sure which school, but I feel like it's like maybe abjuration. I feel like it should be someone else and not evocation that does it.
Well, so I think the idea for evocation is not just overwhelming force, but it. Oh damn, that was bad lightning. Oh, my lights just flickered. Okay, well let's hope that doesn't become a problem. It is precise control over your overwhelming force.
I mean, that's not how it's described, but yeah, I guess.
Is it not? Hold on.
No, your focus and your study on magic. You focus your study on magic that creates powerful elemental effects such as bitter cold, searing flames, rolling thunder, crackling lightning, and burning acid. Some evokers find employment in military forces, serving as artillery to blast the enemies from afar. Others use their spectacular power to protect the weak, while some seek their own gain as adventurers, bandits, or tyrants. So, like, there's no implication of carefulness there.
Well, it says protect the weak. I feel like that.
With your spectacular power.
Yeah, I think you can do both.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is the protect the weak with your spectacular power line reads to me as like, I'm gonna blow the goblins the fuck up so they can't come to the town, not I'm gonna like weave my fireball around my homies.
Well, I think you can make an argument that it's also, I want to be able to nuke this horde of goblins without murdering all the civilians that are being held hostage.
Look, again, I'm not against the ability. I just find it funny that it's on the evocation subclass.
No, I'm not saying you are. I think where we disagree is going back to the theme. Like, to me,
especially because also, side note, their other 3 abilities are not like that. Their other 3 abilities are more damage.
Yes, they are more damage, but if you see it as more damage rather than more damage, it's I am in what's the word I'm looking for?
Embracing.
I'm embracing less control as opposed to more control, right? Because overchannel is fuck the control. I don't care about the control. Versus sculpt spell, which is I could go as hard as I physically could, but I will level everything within 50 meters of me. So I'm gonna pull back and use my power to control.
Yeah,
I guess. It's also I think the other thing that's bothering me is out of the 4 abilities, one of them has a control aspect and the other 3 don't. So it's like, maybe if 2 of them were the control and 2 of them were the damage, I would get that a little bit more. Also, I kind of wish with Empowered Spell, it's like, oh, you add your intelligence modifier to the damage roll. That's not that much extra damage. Give me more damage.
No, I mean, any damage is good damage. Like,
yeah, but it's only gonna be like 1 to 5. You know, and at level 10, that's like, it's okay.
Fair enough.
You know?
That being said, the fact that it can also work with cantrips just means that you're getting Agonizing Blast. And yes, you're getting it at a later level, but Agonizing Blast is never not good, you know?
Wait, what? Isn't that the Warlock only thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's saying it acts like Agonizing Blast because you can use it on any evocation wizards. Wait, no.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, actually, because it doesn't say cantrip. It's a spell. So you can't use it on Agonizing Blast.
Well, it would say spell of 1st level or higher. Cantrips do count as spells. They state that.
Yeah, because I thought that's what a lot of people did with like Firebolt, and then Firebolt has a shit ton of damage now. More so.
I'm not so sure about that, to be honest.
It was in one of the errata where they literally brought this up with spell versatility, because they were like, oh, you can swap out a spell. It was for the optional features UA, where they were like, oh, you can swap a spell when you take a level, and then it said in like one of the side pockets, cantrips are spells.
Maybe. I would have to look into that one again. I'm not 100%, but I'm not going to do it right now.
Yeah. But
Overchannel cool, though.
Yeah.
Overchannel is cool, and it
Overchannel just big damage. Big damage. I also like that Overchannel is big risk reward. Big risk reward.
Yes. I mean, I've
you know.
Yeah.
You can keep throwing it until you kill yourself.
Well, yeah,
which is pretty fun.
What I was gonna say is, I've tried coming up. Well, I mean, I've come up with mechanics for this as well to use across the board. The idea of like overcasting, like burning some sort of other resource to continue casting spells, because I love that idea, and I think that's more interesting to me than, well, I just can't cast anything today, right? Like, I think the idea of just running out of spell slots and then you're fucked is very boring.
How do you feel about the idea of taking, like, you know, you roll hit dice and then you take that amount of damage, but you regain a number of hit dice equal to some kind of number? So it's like you're using your hit dice for something other than, like, you know, short rests.
Well, so I like that.
I did.
That's what he did, but the system that I had come up with was you burn a spell slot every time you want to cast a spell, which means, you know, you have upwards of 20, but every time you burn the hit die, you also have to roll to not suffer exhaustion. And the DC will continue to go up as you're burning your hit dice. So basically the hit dice acted as a token that you could redeem, and the resource was your exhaustion.
Okay.
And I believe you also took, much like casting Wish, I think I also added that you take damage similar to casting Wish, where it's like every level is like it's that spell slot number D6. So you can keep doing it, especially if you have a good healer who's keeping you up, but eventually they're gonna burn out.
I have no idea what you're talking about for the Wish part, but that sounds maybe a little more complicated than needed.
Oh, I mean, it was I made it a few years ago. My understanding of the mechanics were not as nuanced.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, anything else for, like, fixing the class, quote unquote, or any other, like, issues that we have? Because
Isaiah, you didn't say. Are you against the like spellbook mechanic stuff? Yay or nay?
I like spell books. I like the idea of spell books. I love that you have a literal access to your spells whenever you want. I like the potential flavor of having your spells, your spell book taken from you.
Well, I specifically mean the whole, like, transcribing new spells for the cost of gold and time and all that shit.
No, I like that. I think I don't know how else you would do it, because to me it doesn't really make sense to just be like, okay, cool, I just do this for free. You know, like,
I don't know how else to do it either. I think some people just want it to be, you just have the spells you have and you don't need to. I think the beef people have with it is it's that problem of, well, this is a cool thing that lets me get extra spells, and the game is sort of designed in such a or the class is sort of designed in such a fashion that it assumes you will be getting extra spells. So the wizard doesn't get that many new spells as they level up. They only get 2, right? So I think the beef people have is, this is cool if the game is run the way it's supposed to be and I'm given these spells, but shitty if my GM just never lets me get spell books or scrolls, and then I'm annoyed because I'm not getting to do my cool thing. I think that's what people have the problem with.
I suppose, but you, at 20th level, you have access to, what, 46 spells? That's a lot.
Right, but it's that thing of, like, yeah, you do still have a lot of spells, but it's kind of like that thing of, because the wizard doesn't get any class features and getting spells is supposed to be their whole thing, then you want to have as many as you possibly can. And because Wizards of the Coast, the company, not the class, built in the whole spellbook mechanic, people are under the assumption that they sort of restricted how many spells they got automatically, assuming you would get them through spellbooks. Whereas if you took the spellbook mechanic away, they would have to just give them to you automatically because they had no other way to do it. Sure. I like it. I'm not against it. I also think it's really fun flavor, and it's a good money sink, which I always like to have multiple, different money sinks because that's always a problem.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
I've heard the argument.
Yeah,
I've heard the argument being like, no, it's fucking annoying, and like it sucks because my GM didn't let me get any spell books or whatever.
Yeah, I mean my sort of beef, and this is a beef that I've run into several times because I've played more than one wizard. I've played a few, and I always feel like, and this is most likely a coincidence, is that when the GM does allow you to learn more spells, very rarely do you actually have the money to transcribe those spells. So you're just like, oh cool, I have these two spell books and they each got 5 spells in them, but I don't have money.
Yeah, that's happened to me a couple of times too, where I'd have to save up, or like my fellow Storm King Thunder players were actually really nice, and like one of them was literally like, hey, so I think this spell, like you just got this spell from the spell book, I think it's really like useful for us. I'll just give you the gold so you can go transcribe it. And I'm like, oh really, do you want me to pay you back? And it's like, nah, it's like you're the wizard, you're part of the party, it doesn't matter. So it's kind of nice, but yeah, I've had those moments where I'm like, I'm saving up all this money. I just need 300 gold, and I can finally copy this one spell, and then I can sell the spell book to get more gold to copy spells from another book.
I'm kind of okay with that though. Like, that's not really a negative story in my eyes.
No, I don't think it's negative, but it can be like I can understand where people think it's tedious or whatever, or annoying. But I agree. I like.
Any mechanics that add flavor I'm for, and I feel like having to spend money and time to like transcribe new spells adds fun flavor to the wizard. So like,
what do you guys?
Yeah, I go on.
No, I was saying, what do you guys think of like because like we all kind of know about the old Vancian way, like magic, where it's like you learn a spell and then like after you cast it leaves your head. Do you think like adding a mechanic like that to the wizard, where it's like kind of like the signature spell or something like that, where it's like there's one spell specifically that's stuck in your head, and then after you cast it, that spell is gone. You don't know that spell anymore.
Nah.
No, I'm
not about it.
No.
Full disclosure, I really don't like Vancian spellcasting. I think it's kind of goofy, and I've never liked it.
Well, so it's also worth noting that part of the point of the Vancian spellcasting was that in the books that established the Vancian spellcasting, there was more lore to how the magic worked that D&D didn't adopt, because in I don't remember what the book series is actually called, but in the book series written by Mr. Vance, spells and magic are like alive.
Right, yeah.
And the reason the spells leave your brain is because when you cast them, essentially you imprison the living spell in your brain, and then once you cast it, you let it loose, and so because you let it loose, it runs away from you. And like a lot of that extra stuff they didn't put into D&D, they just took the like, oh, the spell goes away thing. And yeah, no, I'm not about it.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I've seen it run, and the way that I've often flavored it in my head is that you basically store. I see wizards as like perfect inventory management, where it's like, okay, I have just enough mana to cast these specific spells. I know I can do these roughly this many times. I've done the calculations in my head,
Yeah, because I've definitely done that. Like, how there's the meme where like angry DMs, it's like, all right, player, it's your turn. What do? The player is flipping through their book. So as GMs out there, give spellcasters maybe like an extra like second or two, like, because they just got a lot of spells and stuff. Because I feel bad because like I'm constantly doing that. Like I'm looking through my spell list. I'm looking through how many spell slots and the things to do and the position of everything. And then when it gets to my turn, so much nonsense has happened on the battlefield that every plan I had or every idea I had to throw it out the window and change it. And then I end up just doing, dimension door.
Yeah, I mean,
that's when you look at the situation and go, LOL, fireball anyway.
Actually, so I do have, this is not a complaint for wizard. This is a complaint for any spellcaster that's a full, at least half caster. You should have a mechanic that lets you a prepared caster specifically. you should 100% have an ability that lets you swap a spell out before a short rest. Make it just one. I don't care if it's just one.
Didn't Tasha's add something like that to a class? I don't remember which. I don't have it on hand, but
I think maybe clerics have it. I don't really know, but I don't like that that's something that you... Like, I don't like the idea that that could potentially be restricted to one class, right? Like, the idea of like, oh, well, I didn't prepare this spell today. I don't have the energy to cast it in like my repertoire, but I can try, and you can, you know, flavor it as swapping a spell out. For like clerics, I'm less bothered by the idea of like having spells that way, because I always imagine clerics being like, God just tells you these are the spells you can cast today. Get
this
creative.
is what you get today, bitch.
Yeah, but you as the player are God in this sense. Because I've heard people be like, oh, GMs should pick their spells for their players. No, fuck you. Fuck off. Don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare.
I've never heard of that. What?
Yeah, I've heard that from a few YouTube channels and discussions.
That's a take.
Yeah, it's not a take I'm a particular fan of. I would say, like, if a player asks you to do it, sure. But if that's a rule at your table, I'm not saying I'm not going to play at your table, but I'm definitely not playing a prepared caster at your table. Fuck that.
That's not as bad, but it sounds kind of like similar to the argument of like conjuring animals, and it's like, in the rules it says the DM has to choose. Meanwhile, literally everyone and their mother's just like, yeah, pick an animal, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, well, the reason for that is that was an attempt at balancing. So if the DM was like, I don't want to deal with 8 snakes, but I can handle 2 horses, then the DM could just choose 2 horses. That's kind of the idea behind it. So like, I understand why they did it, but it is a little noodly because it creates this situation of like passing the book back and forth and like bargaining with each other.
I spend my 9th level spell slot to summon 32 snakes.
Yeah, and you could also run into the problem where it's like, all right, GM, I cast Conjure Animals, and the GM goes, LOL, here's 10 reef sharks. We're on land. Yeah.
In the desert.
Yeah.
Good.
That's the other problem. So, you know, I get why they did it. I understand what the intention was, but yeah, it didn't work out. I do get what they were trying to do. So, you know, I cut them a little bit of slack on that one. As far as like swapping a prepared spell on a short rest, that's... You know,
I think they can, something like that, or like, you know, half.
That's fine.
Kind of like the arcane recovery, where it's like half your spell level, you know, up to a certain like number you can do. So you can't just like swap out your whole fucking list.
Yeah,
of course not your whole list, but like, you know, limit it to your proficiency modifier, or limit it to half your proficiency modifier,
because or I half like your level round down or something. I don't know.
Were you like scorned by this? This sounds like it cut deep.
Well, there's been times where like, look, I don't cheat. I just don't think there's a point. I always prefer to work around my problems. However, if you've been like if you have been a cleric, right? And it's like, okay, today was supposed to be a day of like, you know, we're trying, I have to be like healer and I have to be damage today. Or if today you're like, no, just defense and damage. And then a player dies and you're like, well, I don't have Revivify. Or I don't have Raise Dead or whatever the hell.
Oops.
The fact that like I'm just fucked. Like, and yeah, sure, there's something to say about the consequences of your actions, sure. But I feel like there are easy ways to get the best of both worlds. Like maybe it's like, oh, you can swap out any spell from 3rd level or lower, right? You're not gonna be able to swap out your Shield of Faith for a Sunbeam, but it's like, all right, well, what if I swapped out Shield of Faith for Bless or something like that, you know?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know how it would do it, but it's an interesting thought.
Same. Yeah.
There's a maybe to it.
Yeah.
Oh, I did have a random question.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have two.
Sure.
Yeah, 2 questions, but I guess we gotta kind of wrap up, so I'll be kind of quick. But one, why is the wording on scope spell so odd? Am I missing something?
I don't know why you think it's odd. I've been looking at that all day, all episode.
Okay. The chosen creature automatically succeeds on their saving throws against the spell. And they take no damage if they would normally take half. So they're always gonna take no damage because they automatically succeed on their save. So why doesn't it just say the targeted allies, or not even, the targets take no damage from the spell? What's the point of adding the extra stipulation of like auto succeeding on the saving throw, and then also you get the effect of evasion? Like, I don't.
Well, because certain spells they say you take half damage instead of like the full damage, even if you succeed or even if you're resistant. So it's like with this is like,
but why not just override all of that and say the people hit by the spell take no damage? Then you just override everything.
I don't know, man. I'm not a doctor.
It just seems like excessive word soup for no reason when they could have very easily just put the chosen creatures automatically take no damage from the spell.
Maybe.
So I agree with what you're saying. I think that's how it should be. But I believe potentially the argument is for things like Wall of Flame, where there's no saving throw. You just take damage. So you would just maybe be fucked in that sense.
Oh. Maybe. I don't know. I just found that one to be, I mean, it's not a huge deal. I just found it to be strangely worded, and I didn't really get like why. But the last little thing I did notice is, so it mentions at the very beginning of Wizard, or not the very beginning, but it mentions in the creating a wizard paragraph. It says creating a wizard character demands a backstory dominated by at least one extraordinary event. And I just thought that was interesting.
Isn't that the Xanathar stuff, though?
No, this is Player's Handbook.
Oh, is it? Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'm not, I'm perfectly fine with the sentence being in there. I just found it interesting because it is a very direct and demanding statement. Like, it doesn't say you can have an extraordinary, it says demands a backstory dominated by an extraordinary event. And I found that interesting because 5e doesn't usually use that kind of language. I was just like, intriguing. I don't know if you guys have any like statement on it, but I was like, that's intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think what they are trying to insinuate is, why are you an adventurer, right? Like,
right, yeah, no, I get what they're trying to insinuate.
Why are you a wizard? Why are you...
Yeah. It's just very strange. It's very forceful, and 5e is often not forceful in its wording, you know? So I just thought that was an intriguing little thing.
I guess because it's like, I mean, wizard is such a specific, like, again, like, you know, the caster, weaving magic, all that jazz. Like, something eccentric has to, like, put you on the path to being a wizard. You can't just be like...
No, I agree.
You know, Farmer Jim picking his nose in the fields one day, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, he just gets the thunking, like, I'm gonna be a wizard. I'm gonna be the farm wizard. And then you have that picture of the guy shooting the rooster magic missiles from Tasha.
Yeah, the chickens.
So fucking great.
The chicken wizard. I just think it's funny. Or not even funny. I just think it's interesting that it doesn't say something like, being a wizard means you probably should have an extraordinary event in your backstory, or like creating a wizard means that something weird probably happened, because they like to use the word probably a lot because they don't want to feel like they're telling you what to do. But in this sentence, they said demands.
Good. Plant your feet in the ground, wizards.
Well, I like it because I like when because the whole point, right, if you're buying a role-playing game, then presumably you want the designers to sort of tell you what to do because you're buying their game. So I kind of like it when a game is like, this is how it is, bitch, like tough mashugana, like deal with it. And I don't know, I kind of like that they put their foot down in that sentence.
Yeah.
It adds some like, getting a little spicy. Wizards is talking dirty to me, you know?
Why did you put it that way? I
don't know.
Why not? Why?
They remind me of that commercial with like the mac and cheese, and the guy's like eating. He's like, "Yeah, you dirty girl." Then he just slaps it with a fork. I don't know why. I don't even know what food that was, but like that just gave me the same vibe. And it's just like, did you just spank your mac and cheese? Maybe.
My God. Yeah, no, I don't know.
That's all I had.
I don't really know how I feel about that, because usually I'm usually against the like it needs to be this way. Like, obviously there are some where I'm not, like, we at some point we're gonna get into like races and ancestry, and I'm gonna go off on a like tangent about that. But yeah, no, I just don't know how I feel about being like it needs to be. I think I feel like maybe should be is the
I don't know. Like I said,
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not really sure how I feel about it.
I like that firm language. Firm handshake.
Yeah.
Because I've read other games that are written like that, where everything is very like hard, firm statement, and I kind of like it because, you know, at the end of the day, a tabletop game, you can ignore every single written word no matter what. So you don't need to. I don't feel like it's necessary to give permission and be like, you can ignore this if you want, because that implied permission is literally there for every single tabletop game ever. So just write what you want to write, say what you want to say, and then, you know, I think the writing comes off better that way. I think it comes off better than if you try to kind of like tiptoe and stuff, or try to say like shoulds and maybes and probablys. I'm probably in the minority though, so I don't know, whatever, fuck me.
Well, so I think how I feel on this subject is that it should always, the rule, like especially when it comes to flavor like that, it should always state clearly what the norm is, right? If it said like, you know, creating a wizard often demands a backstory dominated by at least one, right? Because what if you're the homeschooled wizard? Or
that's fine.
Like, well, because that I would argue that's not a extraordinary event. Like, oh, my dad was a
but
wizard.
What I'm
I
saying
learned
is
some evocation at back at the house.
What I'm saying is, no matter how firm the statement is, nothing is stopping you from making that homeschool wizard anyway.
Other than the DM, potentially.
Well, yeah, okay. But from the game perspective.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was my last little thing.
Yeah. I guess, do we have any like closing thoughts on the wizard in general? Like, I don't know. I feel like this has been kind of cool because there's been like a lot of positives and a lot of like new insight for me as someone who's been playing this class for way too goddamn long, who still doesn't feel like I fully like master it, quote unquote. But just like hearing you guys talk about it, it's been, you know, it's very insightful for me.
School of Illusion is kind of eh.
No, fuck you. It is the coolest school. It's fucking awesome. You just need to work with your DM and be like, listen, you know, that scene from Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm about to make some weird shit. Like, just talk to your DM up front about it.
Hold on, let me look through it super quick, just to...
That's my closing thought. I was thinking about which subclass is my least favorite wizard subclass.
Really?
I think it's Illusion.
Oh.
Really? It's less than War?
Shit, fam, you're right. Fuck War Magic.
Okay, I was gonna say, you about to get flamed.
Damn.
Yeah, nah, you're right. War Magic is so...
Also, the 14th level ability, I can literally make anything I want, and it'd be real.
For a minute.
For a minute. It doesn't matter. It's
only 1 minute.
It's real to me, damn it.
Be like, look at this cool bridge. Bridge is gone. Like...
That's fine.
It's only a minute.
You only need it for a minute.
If it was like an hour, I'd be like, all right, that's kind of cool. I don't know, why a minute? That seems so unnecessarily restrictive.
But
especially because it's not
fucking sick.
Like, for abilities that are purely combat, right? Like Form of Dread on the Undead Warlock being a minute, I understand because it's like a combat thing, so you want to have a certain limiter on it, so you make it a minute, so it's 10 rounds. That I get. But for something like Illusionary Reality, it's like, this I'm probably not using in combat, and I'm probably doing some wacky woohoo shit with it, so like, let me keep it for like at least an hour.
I think you could pull some nonsense with it in combat.
You can, but I'm saying it's not like its sole purpose is a combat ability.
No,
you know, it has a lot of applications, so
it
seems unnecessary to restrict it to a minute.
No, I mean...
Especially as a 14th level ability, come on.
I guess.
14th level.
Yeah.
You could do some wild shit at 14th level.
True.
Plus, motherfucker, Illusionary Reality, there's probably a spell that already does something like that anyway that I could just cast, so like...
Well,
what the fuck's the difference?
I mean, sort of. It's the Phantasms and that one spell of Illusory Dragon. But, well, because the difference being is that the Phantasms aren't literally real. They're just real to that person. And
yeah, no, I know. But, like, I'm just saying, the fine line between high level spell and high level ability is like pretty fucking thin.
Do I have any?
I don't know. Do you have a subclass you don't like other than war magic?
No, I like almost all of them. Yeah, like I think they're great.
Same. Even though I kind of agree. Magic is it. Fuck, I can't English
War
tonight.
magic is the technical name.
It's my least favorite, but I would still play it. Like that's the thing. That's the weird thing. I would actually not for like a full campaign, but if someone was running like a 1 or 2 shot, I'd be like, yeah, I can make a war wizard. Yeah.
I mean, having a shitload of spells is just hard to argue with. At the end of the day, you know.
Yep.
So, even if the wizard subclass is really shitty, I still have my spells.
Let's see. Do I have any advice?
I don't know. Wizard cool.
Enter. Damn it.
Yeah,
Sam.
so
enter South Park.
Here's some advice.
Song here.
If you're afraid of playing a spellcaster, stop being a baby. Play a spellcaster. Just do it. It's so much fun. And more often than not, it's not as hard as you think it would be to manage. It can be a little noodly at times, but more often than not, it's fun and it has so much potential for creating great moments.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my advice. Just play spellcasters. They're fun. Wizards are fun.
They're great. Yeah. Like I said, it can be daunting, but like once you get it, once you understand, and it's not even that like hard to understand, but like once you get it and you get the prepared spells and you pick your spells and all that, it's so fun. It's so fun to literally just be like, I have so many options. I can do whatever I want. And then you're literally like Daffy Duck, like flying through space, blasting monsters meme.
Yeah.
It's great.
Much like DMing, just try it.
Yeah. It's easy and fun. Maybe not easy, but like it's fun.
I mean, play what you're comfortable with, but yes, spellcasting is not as intimidating as you might initially assume. It's literally the only intimidating factor is you have to read a little bit more. That's pretty much it.
Oh God, I'm illiterate. No.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're illiterate, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're playing the wrong game. Anything from you, Matt?
Yeah, Wizard is the best class in the game. They named their company after the class. It is the best in all the universe, multiverse, whatever they're doing now. Plant my feet firmly in the ground. There you go. There's my statement. Where's my check?
Where's my check? Nowhere. It's gone. Doesn't exist.
Sponsor me, Wizards. No. No, honestly, I do.
I'll take that sponsorship. Let's go.
Yeah. Honestly, no, I do. Like, I half joking, not really. I do actually agree. I think I do actually believe my own thing where Wizards, I do feel like they are one of the, if not the best class in the game, just because of like the ability to literally do anything, and the only limitation is your creativity and maybe your GM. And maybe your spell list.
Spell list.
But yeah, but they get the biggest spell list in the game. It's the stereotypical D&D like class. Like, you know, you think of Dungeons and Dragons, you think of the guy with the sword, you think of the wizard with the staff and the robes, and then the other two are the rogue and the cleric. Like, you know, like wizard is like, you know, we talked about fighters last time. This time, wizard, it's literally the two pillars that can break down into the other, you know, classes of the game.
And next time we go on a roast fest, get your ass ready, monk.
Ooh, no, wait, fuck you. I like the monk.
I'm kidding. I do actually like monk.
Kung Fu Panda.
Fuck that ranger son of a bitch, so am I right?
Yeah.
Lamau.
But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us today. We talk about the Wizard.
I don't know why. I just really, for a half a second there, I expected Matt to be like, "Thanks, Mom."
Thanks, Mom. Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for borning me and everything. You know, it's all good.
Thanks for boarding me.
Yeah,
I'm crying.
Yeah, but don't forget to subscribe to the YouTubes, ring that ding dong, comment, Twitters, socials, all that jazz. You know the drill by
Matt,
now.
You're really bad at this.
I'm so terrible at this social media game. You have no idea.
If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, of which I know several of you do, please leave a review. It makes the algorithm demons happy. And if you're listening on something like Spotify where there's a rating system, hit us with that old rating.
Yeah. But I guess that's it for now. Now I've got to go and plan my gun monk / muscle monk. Or muscle wizard, sorry.
Oh, hell yeah, muscle wizard.
Muscle wizard, gun wizard. God, I don't know why. It's because there's that video game coming out, and I really want to try like actually doing a gun wizard in D&D, and I don't think it'll work. But we're gonna make a hard attempt, just like college. Thanks for joining today, everybody.
Gun wizard exists, Matt.
It does.
It's just artificer
We
wizard.
Just shush. Silence.
No, this is good.
We tried to close.
That's fine. No, Brett. This is the fade out that Brett. Have a good night, everybody.